Hey, welcome back to Jigs on Twitch. Back today with special guest. The Jig is always up. Jack, thanks for coming on board for this Rug Delver stream.
I'm proud we're making Dougal play fair magic the blue way by drowning opponents in force of wills and turning Delvers sideways, as Richard Garfield intended.
Yeah, so Delver is a deck that I have played around with before. I'll definitely see if I can turn you up a bit as well. Hopefully that helps. How is that? Jack, do you just want to say something quickly and I'll make sure that the volume's correct?
Nightmare Elko is a bad 3-drop, and Tarmogoyf is so much better.
Yeah. Okay, if we can stay away from the fiction, that'd be great. So Rug, of course, is a deck that you really enjoy playing. I know you've also been playing Doomsday recently. How do you think Rug is currently positioned in the new metagame as a Delver deck to choose?
So I think all the Delver decks are in flux. I think the best aggro deck is clearly blue-red variants, as it always kind of has been. But I'm not really interested in just bolting my opponent out of the game. I think that's not very interesting magic. And whilst Ura Delver is possibly the best Delver because aggro archetypes tend to be better in the newer metagames,
Hmm.
it's just not magic I enjoy playing, and I would rather play a tempo mid-range game than I would. I have six bolts go face, double turn sideways, I win. I am very good at the game.
Yeah, exactly. And the three colors give you a good array of different spells, which are pretty good. I mean, the green just giving you things like Sylvan Library and Clots is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so the 3 drops in the stack are Brazen Borrower and Clothis. You could argue the Brazen Borrower should be swapped to the true names in the sideboard. I just like more flexibility in the main deck. True name is a very clunky spell still, and it still sucks as Uro. Whereas Brazen Borrower is very flexible. It's a 2 and a 3 drop. It answers a lot of threats. It's got flash. Like the card itself is just very, very easy to use and not super committal. Like a true name is. Like a true name really forces you to tap out and like commit to it, while Brazen Borrower doesn't. The Clothis is in kind of that spot. I just think Clothis is better than True Name Nemesis in general. The only negative to Clothis is Skyclave Apparition, and if Skyclave Apparition didn't exist, I would just be playing mono Clothis in the stack and zero True Name. But because of D&T being a very powerful deck. And even Maverick, like Maverick is a huge problem for Rug right now. I assume Dougal loves the fact that Oko and Dreadhorde don't exist because those cards define the matchup. Without those gone, the matchup is very swung in their favor, especially the green white list with Skyclave, because Skyclave just murders Skyclave just murders Delver in general these days. The only hands that really beat the Skyclave decks are the ultra aggressive 4 stays Delver U decks, which you can draw, but on average, versus a plow deck, you just won't win with those hands.
Yeah, exactly. D&T does seem like a bit of a tough matchup, but yeah, Rug's definitely come a long way since the days of 2015, 2016. Got some new cards in here like Hex Drinker as well, which is pretty good. But uh, you know,
So I was always playing Hexdrinker in the last meta. I was telling all the Delver players to play Hexdrinker. I think it's a very versatile 1 drop. So Delver wants its threats to be good in the early game and the late game as a tempo mid range deck. Hexdrinker doubles as so you could argue Seven Alliance isn't the greatest 1 drop, but it is a 1 drop that lets you play tempo with. It's also a very good 4 drop or a card to slowly invest mana into. Uh, the trick with Hex Shrinker itself is to not commit into it until you can force an opponent to tap out. Like just use that, say, tempo 2-1, maybe put 1 mana into it. Don't invest heavily into it. But Delver's very good at making your opponent tap out. And when you do tap out, just make it a 4-4 and it's basically impossible to kill. And then just make it a 6-6 and you win.
yeah, definitely. I think in Maverick, one of the things I've definitely noticed with Hex Drinker is just being a bit patient with it and making your opponent tap out before you tick it up or even play it. Um, because it is pretty powerful against some decks. Even just as a 4-4, a lot of decks have a hard time dealing with it once instants aren't a way to deal with it.
Well, that's the thing. Like once it's a 4-4, it's basically becoming a 6-6. And once it's a 6-6, it just wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Like uh, I found a lot of the issues people were having with the last meta was they made it 4-4 and they kept attacking into the Snow Codex with it. Once it was a 4-4, I never attacked into the Snow Codex. I didn't want to be trading for icing. I just sat there just investing mana into it, making it 6-6 and then just killing them.
Yep, I know that feeling for sure. The other card is Ethereal Forger, which obviously isn't a Dreadhorde Arcanist, but it does have similar play to it.
It does. So it's in place of the delve threats. Being blue isn't much of an issue in the Wasteland deck because, like, apart from Wastelands, all your lands cast it. It's very easy to cheat out with like a cantrip, two fetch lands, and like a force or a daze. So you can cast it actually relatively early. There's a few downsides to it. So whilst people will say it pitches to force and think pitching to force is a good thing, I'm not convinced. I think being pyroblastable is worse than being pitchable to force. And also, if you flicker wisp it, it will not no longer track the cards. That said, if the card attacks, it's a very powerful card because it will start doing what Dreadhorde Arcanist kind of did, and it will just start giving you free spells, and free spells is kind of good.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Nathan in chat says hello and says, "What do you think about Taiga in the deck?" I assume it's because of Days.
So I've played Tega. So, okay, fun fact. I want to make Uro Delver. Uro Delver requires 4 tropicals, 3 volks. I sadly don't own 4 tropicals, 3 volks, but I do own 3 tropicals, 3 volks, and a tiger.
Okay.
So I tried making that mana base work, and it's horrendous. It's not worth it. I have tried making the tiger work in this deck. The problem is that tiger doesn't cast any cantrips, and unlike like the Lurus decks where the Lurus decks did play the Bayou and the stuff, but like the Lurus decks had like all these black discard spells and like all these black interaction spells you wanted to cast. Rug Delver doesn't have all these green interaction spells it wants to cast. Its green spells are its threats. But because you're not like, look at this deck, it has what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green mana costs in the deck. Like, you don't really need that many green sources, and the tiger didn't really cast anything in the deck was the issue. Like the Bayou casted like your Thought Seizers, your Black Threats, your Lurus, and all these good cards that made it reasonable to play. But also your Abrupt Decays, which the Lurus decks did, well, the bug variants the Lurus decks did play, and the Bayou made more sense. While in the rug lists, the tiger doesn't make sense because Rug Delver really is blue red with splash green for threats, and that's really what it is.
Yeah. I guess for like an opening hand, what would you want to be seeing as a Rogue player?
2 lands, a 1 CMC threat, a Days of Force, and a cantrip.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Do you keep many one lander sort of one cantrip hands?
Yeah, basically I will never mull those hands. I just don't see the point. Like, you can mull them if they're really, really shitty. Like, but often your one landers plus cantrips are good hands anyway. There are specific matchups when they're worse, but sure. Like on the blind, if I have a one lander cantrip and I will snap keep it.
Okay, cool. I guess with the deck, how do you think it mulligans compared to other decks?
So the historical rule of Rug Delver is that it never mull because it mulls poorly. That was no longer true during the Dreadhorde Arcanist meta because, well, Dreadhorde Arcanist and Oko were very good mull targets.
Yep.
So I think this variant, this like mid-range variant, mulls poorly, but I think it mulls better than most double decks. I generally think in a lot of matchups, Delvers can't mull. Like, mulling against any fair decks is really bad. And it's really hard. Like, the problem with Delver right now is that it kind of needs all its cards to keep up with the fair decks. Because the fair decks have had a lot of power creep. Like, cards like Elvish Reclaimer, Shepherd of the Skyclave, oh no, Shepherd of the Allosaurus. Bullshit card. Like,
Allosaurus Shepherd. There we go.
yes, that card. And all these like powerful must answer cards, which often you have to force or find a bolt to kill really quickly, and that just expends your resources really quickly. And you kind of need a lot of resources to keep up with it. Powerful sixes can keep up with them, sure. Like Sylvan Library is a hell of a catch-up card, and like there are ways in this deck to multi sixes. But the average 6 will not be a good 7 is the problem Delver has these days against fair decks.
Yeah,
Which,
cool. It's a great assessment.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you keen to get into some Rug Delver magic?
Oh, sure. Let's just open double Delver, force days, and just crush people.
Nice. What would you like to play against all day?
I would like to. Well, I haven't tested the deck, so I'd like to test it versus bear decks. But in a real world setting, I want to play against 5 show and tell decks and just get crush them easily. Hello, Nathan in chat. Your blue white deck might be slightly better against Delver, but if I play against blue red show and tell, we're just gonna crush them.
Yeah, Miguel has a good question as well. Comparing the flexibility of blue, green, red to the consistency of straight blue, red, is the green worth it in the current meta?
I actually think the blue red mana bases are as consistent as the rug mana bases. The only difference is their susceptibility to wasteland, and that's a question you can ask. For example, this hand is one of the few one landers I wouldn't keep because I don't like keeping hands with Brainstorm as the only cantrip.
Yeah.
What's our opponent? What's our opponent? Opponent? Okay. I don't know opponent's name. I think we ship this. Like, this hand is very good if we find the land of the brainstorm, but if we don't find the land of the brainstorm, we lose. So I can see why people would keep this hand because it's got a lot of forces in it. The problem is that we're not sure if forces are good in the matchup in the first place, and
Yeah.
I think it's I think I think if you look at this hand, you would think it's an instant keep, which I don't blame you for. Like the hand is very tempting. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think if the brainstorm was a ponder, I'd be very
if
different.
Ransom was a ponder or print, I would snap this off any day of the week. I have a house rule where I don't like keeping. This is from my days as a control player, mind you. So it is possible we are supposed to keep this. Dougal, what do you think of this hand?
I would like to mull it. I think just because the it really relies on a stop taking a land, and I kind of
Sure.
don't want to
Okay.
be forced to use the brainstorm in a way.
Sure. This hand's much better. Snap keep.
Yeah.
Bottom of ponder.
Yep. Nice.
Also, we're being greedy. We're not playing around with wasteland. I want hex drinker.
Okay.
Uh, Also, house rule I have is that on the play, I always just play turn one threat. Like, and against an unknown matchup, I always just jam the turn one threat. Even if they wasteland me, I secretly don't think it's a good play to wasteland Delver after they go turn one threat. Because if they have another land, you're just giving the Delver player free tempo. And giving the Delver player free tempo is medium. Oh, this is a mirror. Preordain, find a red source, bolt the Delver.
Okay. Cool. Why are you preordaining and not pondering? I guess just because ponder sees 4 cards.
Ponder locks you into your top few cards. The most powerful cantrip in any situation when you don't have a fetch land is Preordain, followed by Ponder, followed by Brainstorm. Reverse order when you have a fetch land.
Okay.
There are very few situations. What's the other cards of Brainstorm?
Brainstorm and Trop.
So you can top the. So there are two such things we can do here. We can top the Tropical here, which I actually think is an okay play. So just bottom the Brainstorm, top the Trop. So there is argument to bottom the Tropical here. I just don't buy it. So just move to combat and attack. Then play the Tropical main phase 2 and cast Ponder.
Cool.
Oh, cool. That's fine.
Yeah. Does that tell you anything about their hand? As in, maybe they don't have removal?
So it suggests they don't have removal. It suggests they have more threats. So they probably have like a Tarmogoyf in hand. So I'm interested in finding a Daze. I'm okay with this. So Ethereal Forger on the bottom, Wasteland second, draw the Delver.
Okay.
If opponents, I don't think opponents playing. This could be argument's sake. This could be Bug Delver, in which case drawing the Wasteland was better. I just don't buy it. Like, okay, so this is mid-range Delver. That resolving is really bad. That was the only reason to hold Spell Pierce up. Just play Delver, Wasteland them, and hold the Spell Pierce up.
Okay. Definitely tough now
So, yeah,
because I think Library makes the Wasteland a little bit worse because they do get to dig for the mana.
Yes and no. Library and Delver mirrors when we have a Delver and a Bolt can be, yeah. Like, our Delver's flipping, and we have a Bolt. So they have to be very careful in what they do here.
Yeah, sorry. Delver won't be flipping because it's the whale on top.
No, we have a Brainstorm.
Oh, cool. Okay. You're saying enter Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or upkeep Brainstorm if you need to spell pierce something.
Yeah. Does the library in play make you be more aggressive with making sure the Delver flips?
Definitely. Like the library in play means they're winning the longer game, and the so library trades life for resources, and the higher life total they have, the more resources they can buy. So the second your opponent has a library and you don't, you want to move to a full-on aggressive stance. For example, if an opponent plays a red source, we're going to untap Brainstorm, holding up the Spell Pierce to counter the Lightning Bolt in their hand. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Very nice. It looks like our opponent's just disconnected for a second. The rug mirrors seem really fun.
They're either really fun or completely cancerous because both players open 3 wastelands, and the person who draws more lands naturally wins.
Yeah, I guess what do you think about the blue red versus rug matchup?
I the I honestly don't think basics add much to the deck. I think the advantage you get off basics is also countered by the advantage of not having duels. Like I do like the aggressive mono red aggro, like they're really aggressive, like the Aussie Mandis aggro decks. But at the same time, I don't think playing basics in the mirror ultra helps you, especially when you play the basic and rug. Like the problem is that the basic and rug doesn't really cast a lot of spells.
Yeah, especially the
So
mountain.
yeah, well, not the mountain, like the island. Like the island doesn't really like, especially in the Oko era, the the game was dictated by green and red threats, and the island didn't cast your green and red threats. So it didn't really cast anything important in the mirror. And as it didn't really do anything important in the mirror, like, yes, those they can't wasteland it, but it's also not doing anything. So why do they need to wasteland it?
Yeah, that's very true. When you said at the very start we saw the Sylvan Library, and you said this is probably rug mid range. What would you say is different between rug mid range and traditional rug?
So a more mid-range list, so playing Uros, libraries, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So like
cool.
it could also be a very similar list to mine, but I don't think it will be. I think it would just be like a deck of Uros and like aggressive list.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. I guess while we're waiting for our opponent, what's Legacy like in Melbourne right now? I know you guys are recovering a bit from COVID, which is good, and I believe going back to paper magic.
Yeah, pretty good. So yeah, we have like a tournament this weekend. I'll be playing D&T in it actually. So I look forward to just skyclaving all everyone's strats and making them rage quit.
Nice. Yeah, I assume Melbourne has a few D&T players.
Oh yeah, we do. We have me, Stephen occasionally plays D&T, and Alistair,
Yeah.
who has I want to say he's new to the format, but he's now played for 3 years, which feels crazy to me. But yeah, he still feels new to me. He's played for 3 years.
Yeah, nice. That's a good part about the Legacy community. It gets pretty close, even after a few years.
Yeah.
What was the event last week and that was on that Steve took out with
So just a
sinkholes?
like normal legacy event. Steve played his Rug Delver Tombstalker's Go pile, and like, yeah, like he's just a really good like Rug Delver pilot. And, not sorry, Bug Delver pilot, and his pet card's Tombstalker, so he likes it.
Nice. Yeah, it's a cool card. I've seen some people play it. Obviously, he's also a big Goblins fan.
Well, I mean, he has like a $7,000 Goblins deck.
Yeah. Is it fully foiled?
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. Did you have any thoughts about fitting Uro into this list?
I've been testing Uro Delver decks, and I think they're okay. Um, like they're perfectly fine. Like Uro is a very, very powerful card, and enabling it is good. The problem is that once again, I don't own four tropicals. I don't really want to buy a fourth tropical because they're now $1,000. And I think the card is fine, but I do think it does require the four tropicals. I also think it doesn't offer you a whole lot, which is weird saying. 'Cause the card is insanely powerful. The issue is that in the matchups where you want its effect, they're oddly good against Uro. Like you want a powerful mid-range threat against Death and Taxes and Maverick and like blue-white control decks. The problem is that those decks tend to play Caracas, and Caracas makes Uro awkward. Like it's yeah, like that's just the issue is like it just makes Uro awkward. Actually, the problem with Omnath is that Omnath dies to Pyroblast, and that's the only real issue with Omnath in Legacy is that's a 4 CMC card that dies to Pyroblast, which you might say the same thing about Jace, but Jace is also very medium.
Yeah, I saw a list that was playing Omnath. I think it was like an Omnath Uro Titan kind of list with Teferi and maybe Jace. That looked
So
pretty
yeah,
interesting.
the thing is you're playing like all duels in that deck. Like
Yeah.
it's the payout like sorry, Omnath is a very powerful card. Like I'm not saying the card isn't powerful enough for Legacy. I just think casting it in a Wasteland Pyroblast format is hard to achieve. And if you can pull it off, sure, it'll be very good.
Yeah, I played a match with Connor, aka Loma Boy, and we played
Yeah.
a version of Loam that played Omnath, which is pretty good. So
Oh,
having it in a
I think
Chalice
it's
deck is quite nice because it is a little less prone to Pyroblast.
yeah, I think it's much easier to do with it. Like I think Mox Diamond accelerating Omnath is exactly what you want. And I
Hmm.
think a Mox Diamond Omnath deck with Life in the Loam is very viable. Um, Once again, like uh, good luck making it. Like I couldn't make the deck. I'm not very good at loam piles. I'm assuming Loma Boy is a great loam player. Well, he is a great loam. I'm not just
Hmm.
assuming he is a great loam player, so he could make it work. But yeah, that's the thing. Like I only play fair decks like Delver and Doomsday.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Would you treat Omnath like a 5 drop? Would you always want to play it when you have a land drop? I guess not
Uh,
always, but
yes, it like well, no, yes and no is the easy answer. You want to get value off your math, and cycling mana is a good thing,
hmm.
but sometimes you just have to understand like you just need the mana next turn, or like you don't have a land drop in hand anyway, so you might as well just play it out and draw into more cards and things like that. Like there's no easy answer. Like it's very situational dependent. Like if you just if like for example if you're both in top deck mode, just cast the on that right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming a lot of Maverick players can say the same thing about like Tiles Tracker is a great option, a great
Yeah, like
example. Okay, so Delver in play, how aggressive do you think our opponent will or could be with this Sylvan Library?
I would pay 4 here if I was opponent. I think paying 8's a little aggressive. I would pay 4. Depends how good their cards are, though. If they're really good, they just pay 8. Their Spell Pierce and Lightning Bolt is very good for us right now, though. It basically means we can counter the removal spell, and
Oh,
well, that's unfortunate.
well, yeah, that's
So
interesting.
Delver, hey. So Dougal casts a Delver and instantly wins. How does this help you, Dougal?
Yes, exactly. That's interesting. Is that because is it 5 minutes that you get on MTGO?
I think it's look. It's a Pacific time. I don't exactly remember, and opponent just yeah.
Tough. I mean, they probably saw a hand and they were just like, I can't beat this.
I mean, I was gonna say the game was going to be difficult,
Hmm.
but like drawing into bolts is always possible.
Oh, here
This
we
hand's
go.
fine.
Yeah, double days, ponder, really nice. And then Volk is really nice as well because it casts the bolt. Obviously, a Trop wouldn't, but this end is sweet.
I mean, I would like slightly more aggressive. Like I would like a one drop in this hand, and I would like a few other things.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly fine hand though.
Are you looking for a cheap threat with this ponder?
No, you're looking for land drops.
Okay.
Like with this type of hand, we just want to kind of trade one for one, then land a forager.
So this is
I
pretty perfect.
Yeah, I would. So you can either put the wasteland on top or you can put it on bottom. But I think we put the wasteland on the bottom. We then put the Tarmogoyf in the fetch land. Oh, so the not fetch land, the actual land.
Is there any thought? I guess because we have protection, there's no thought of like thought sees the Goif. There's no.
It's just tree information. It's just we get to hide more information by putting the Goyf on top.
Yeah, cool.
Like if opponent thought sees us here, we're not countering it. We're just going to show them our hand. I'll take the whale, then we untap and cast a Tarmogoyf.
I did that incorrect, but
Did you? No, I meant the keep the Tarmogoyf on top of your deck, not
cool,
draw.
perfect. Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Ponder.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
What sort of signs do you look for to actually use your counter magic on cantrips?
If they mull to less than if they mull to less than 6, I think about it.
Yeah. Just see what they quickly did. They chose not to shuffle. So to me, that kind of seems like they have a good mix of everything. It's not like they're
I would
looking
just
for a
slam the
land
top
or
right there.
Yeah, definitely,
So
especially with double days.
the only argument you could make for doing something else is brainstorm into the wasteland and wasteland, but I think it's fine just to slam the Tarmogoyf here.
Yeah, I guess the other thing that if this is rug, the annoying thing is that land into bolt actually kills the Goyf.
Just phases. Um, I mean, look, that is a annoyance, but at the same time, putting spells into the bin just fuels our whale.
Yeah, very true.
So I'm kind of trying to just trade 1 for 1 then land the whale.
Oh, another force. Okay, this definitely makes me feel like my opponent does not have an answer to the Tarmogoyf, unfortunately.
Look, even at this point, we don't care. We just traded 2 days for. We just took 4 cards out of their hand for 2.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the great thing is that we now have 2 lands and brainstorm in hand, so we get to get value off this brainstorm most likely.
Yeah. The only reason that I returned the Volk first was that if my opponent did have Wasteland, would probably want to keep the Volk because it casts both Bolt and Brainstorm.
That's fine.
Yeah, especially when we have a big clock already on the board.
How big is Tarmogoyf?
Tarmogoyf is currently a 3/4.
I would wasteland their black source.
Yeah, try to keep them off something like Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, I would just be aggressive.
Are there any delve threats that you'd consider from your opponent's deck?
Apart from whale, not really. I expect maybe a whale, like maybe Gurmag, but
Yeah.
sure.
Or Tombstalker, the Steve special.
Sure. Well, they have a tropical island, so the tropical island means they can't do much, but
Brainstorm's pretty nice to
this is
see.
a great sign for us.
Yeah.
So opponent should never brainstorm like this. They should just pay. They should just take the damage. I assume that this means they're looking for land, and you're only seeing 1 card deeper because he didn't pay off the library, which just means he's not going to find land. He's going to pass back, and he's just lost the game. Like he should just pay the life here.
Yeah. Is Fatal Push a card that I should consider?
Pay the red source. I mean, sure, but we're going to force it.
Yeah. I think it's kind of just to protect the queen for now on.
Yeah.
I assume if we force, we'll be pitching the Forager?
No, pitch a brainstorm, then play the Forager.
Okay.
We want every single one of the cards in hand, so the brainstorm's not doing much anyway. And we just really want this Tarmogoyf in play, and we then want to back up the Tarmogoyf with an additional threat. If the Forager gets dazed, it gets dazed. The opponent didn't have early dazes, and I imagine he's not picking dazes off this library because he just wants cards to answer our current threats. Like dazes aren't very good for him right now. Like they will answer this Forager, but currently we don't need to play anything else. We just have a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Bug does have the out of Abrupt Decay, which is nice, because obviously the other Bolt decks would have a harder time to deal with a 3/4 Goyf. Hey, Cleo. Wasteland.
What's your opponent on?
They look to be Bug, and
Looks like a true name nemesis. Force that. Force brainstorm.
definitely. And then we actually have the win if they don't have a
Yeah.
spell back, which is nice, because we can just Bolt. Force back.
That's fine.
Yeah.
How big is Tarmogoyf?
Currently a 3/4.
So there'll be a 4/5 after this. Cool. I would bolt them.
Yeah. They have 0 cards in hand, so this also turns off the Delta, which is nice.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to turn off the fetch because the fetch basically means I can't shuffle the top of the deck, and it just slam the Forager. Give yourselves bolts and cantrips.
Cool. I've actually never cast a Forager, Jack, so this is my first.
Fair.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then just pay the 2 mana.
There we go.
So
Nice.
there was another argument to keeping the blue spell in hand. I just don't think opponent can do much with 1 card. Like they basically can only have 1 removal spell, which can answer either threat. And let's say opponent draws Abrupt Decay, holding the card in hand just gives them a turn for no reason.
Yeah, that's very true. What would Does Bug have an answer to this in the main deck?
Um, I mean, possibly. Like,
Yeah.
Assassin's Trophy and cards like that do exist, and like I imagine they can. I imagine they can play their own Forager.
Okay.
Um, cool. So Bug Delver. Because they're playing Euros, you definitely want Pyroblast. And you definitely want Clothis.
Yeah.
So I would cut I would cut your 6 forces.
Okay. You just rather deal with stuff once it in play than try to fight on the stack and be down on
I
cards?
want to be a mid range. I just want to play the mid range match.
Yeah.
Cool. Bring in the Sylvan Library. Bring in a Veil of Summer.
Cool. Nice.
And so there is argument for another Veil of Summer. But like we'd be cutting card like Preordain, and I like the Preordain slightly more. I like the Veil of Summer more on the play. Like I definitely want 2 Veil of Summers on the play,
Yeah.
but on the draw, Veil of Summer can be stuck in hand.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've definitely been there before with Maverick. Can sometimes be a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
But yeah, this seems really nice.
There's an argument for cutting a bolt here. Honestly, sounds fine. Keep it. There's argument for cutting like the chain lightning just because we're not exactly sure how many multiple threats they have. I assume their threat base is 4 Delver, 4 Bobs, 4 Uro though.
Oh, Bob. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I would definitely expect a Bob in the stack.
Yeah. Opponent goes for a basic.
Basic Island in an Uro deck is just a no. Just play duels. Just play duels. Like basics don't cast Uro. Like by playing basics, it means that your other lands become better to Wasteland. Cool. Put the Spell Pierce on the bottom.
Yep.
Draw the Volcanic Island. Yeah. This way I'll double Wolf Lane.
Yeah, nice. That's a good consideration.
I actually don't hate Spell Pierce in this matchup. Like, I understand it can be medium, but I don't truly hate it. I think because you have to take cards in consideration like Him to Turak and like Fatal Pushes and like force of like they might keep forces in. Like there's a lot of considerations to why keeping the Spell Pierce is fine. I do agree, like it does have diminishing returns though. Just play a double.
Yeah.
If they have double wasteland, they have double wasteland.
Jack, they always have double wasteland. What do we beat around the bush for? Just to consider it as well, our opponent did a shuffle with the first ponder and a no shuffle with the second.
It is well. The thing is, this create they're playing a very mid-range deck, and I imagine mid-range deck. I would daze that.
Yeah, I think as well, just because we really want this next turn as well.
Yeah. But yeah, because they're playing this mid-range variant like that has loam hymns in it, that's why I wouldn't cut the Spell Pierces. Like, if this was a less grindy, like more traditional Gomag Angler, Abrupt Decay, Turn Sideways deck, I would be more in favor of cutting the Spell Pierce, but purely because this is more a greed pile. Like, this is more a Delverless Delver deck with Delvers, rather than just a Tempo Delver deck.
Yeah, definitely. The loams are really cool. Just as a fan of Wasteland, I'm a big fan of loam in some sort of bug deck or some sort of Delver deck.
I actually won the Legacy tournament 2 weeks ago with a loam the sideboard because I just wanted. I was doing the cute thing of healing a Nimble Mongoose with life in the loam, and I was playing. This is a Hull Breacher probably or a Brazen Borrower. It's one of those two. It's a flash threat. Or yeah, like this is definitely like they're either playing around Stifle for some reason, which we have the land up at. Which look, they're not playing around Stifle. Like this only makes sense if they have a flash threat.
Yeah, I assume he would just not doing anything.
Yeah, they're just untapping and moving into combat. Please draw a land. Please draw a land. Please, that's not a land. Yeah, attacking. Okay, yeah.
It's okay. Okay.
This is fine. Just brainstorm. That makes sense, yeah, because the basic didn't cast anything, so you need to fetch for a land that lets them cast things. This is probably being counted, by the way.
Yeah, this will be tough because then our opponent kind of knows that
cool.
the loam
put back a whale. I'm interested in putting back a lightning bolt.
Yeah, okay. I think as well because we're not too sure what their threat density is and what's actually boltable, that it's fine just having the one.
I just think I like the other cards more.
Yeah.
Like, opponent's probably just going to get the loan back here, and we're going to spell pierce it. Interesting. They're not trying to wasteland us.
Leovold.
This is fine. Fetch. Just fetch now. Get a tropical, then bounce off your red source.
Oh, you're saying Dazed?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's always best to fetch first over. Yeah, so bounce your red source.
Guess we have Spell Pierce here as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Get a free look at a card. Goif.
What's in our graveyard?
Ponder, Trop, Daze, Delver, Brainstorm, Misty, Daze.
Exile the 2 cantrips 2 days.
Okay. Off the Forager?
Yeah.
There is no other thing that exiles Dougal. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now
5, 6.
there's a chance this gets dazed here, which is awkward, but okay, sure, this is fine.
I wonder if they will loam now because
They
we're
should
tapped
definitely loam now.
Yeah.
Like the wasteland's virtually free.
No. Interesting.
Okay, I am okay with this. Well, if we draw a land, we're playing the Clothis.
Oh, they had a second one.
No.
There we go. I think we just got gut.
It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna draw a land here and just slam the Tamagotchi.
Close.
That's awkward. Play the wasteland and pass the turn. Don't wasteland. We kind of want to resolve this Clothis more than we want to wasteland them.
Definitely.
Just counter it. Just counter it.
No land yet, which is nice. Okay. Nice. Come on, land. Ah, so close.
That's hang on, stop.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess we just have to untap. Yeah, this is fine. So we're losing our, but yeah, we're being loamed here. We're definitely just being loamed here, and we're losing our vault. So we have to top deck a Trop now.
Oh, they're going to try to do something else.
Just counter this. This is a Jace. This is actually just a Jace to Mind Sculptor. Oh, this is an Uro. They have an Uro in the wait. Do they have an Uro in the bit?
They do.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've lost this game now. Opponents got Uros. So yeah, we have very lost this game. I counter it. Yeah, counter it. But we have very screwed.
Jack, I want to have some faith here. Oh.
No. Just pick your deck up. Like, you're not winning the situation.
I'm gonna take one more. See if they loam again, and just see what they have. Hey, Dark Cloud, a huge thank you for the 11-month sub. Very, very cool. I hope you're doing well. Hope uni's going well. Hopefully see you at Paper Magic soon. All right.
Why are they zeroing us? Like, we can't beat an opponent. We can't beat an Uro. Just bolt them. Sure. Okay, I'm okay with cutting the bolts now. Let's cut 2 bolts.
Do you want to play it out?
No.
Are you sure?
Look, we're dead in multiple ways, and how long do we have on the clock? 13 minutes?
Yeah, they got to go. There we go. I guess we have a bouncer, but we don't draw a land. There we go.
Yeah, no. Generally, once someone starts looping Uros versus you, you have lost the game.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I'm more interested in that Veil now. Okay, what do I want to cut in the play? Interesting. I still like the Spell Pierces. I would cut the Chain Lightning though. I would also bring back a Force Will and cut a second Lightning Bolt.
Usually
you don't. One Forcer will. Usually you don't particularly want Forces in Delver matchups. I just think they don't have a lot of good boltable threats. So the bolts weren't doing that much based off what we saw.
Yeah. I guess seeing that we've seen both Loam and Uro, is there any sort of surgical? Or is that just kind of overkill?
We want our Clothis and our counter magic to answer those cards.
Yeah.
We don't really particularly want to be surgical. Uro can be good. It can also like the problem with surgical that it's only good once they start Uroing you, and once they start Uroing you, you've probably already lost the other threats they have. So you kind of just want to not draw the surgical and just hope you draw your Clothis or hope you kill them before they start doing that.
Yeah. That's fair, yeah.
Like, if I was playing a Relic or Progenitus, I would definitely bring it in, even though it numbers of half our deck. Which is this is a snap kit. It sounds insane.
Really nice.
So yeah, this is a turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Delver, hold up Bale hand.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then yeah, even having a Delver to fort to pitch force if we need to for some reason.
That force is unfortunately pretty dead here, which is awkward. But we just want to put the Delvers out. There would be an argument to putting the Hex Drinker out, and there's actually argument to playing the Misty on turn 1, fetching a Tropical, and hoping to draw a Tropical. The only other counter argument to that is, well, you lose your fetch land for future cantrips, and the fetch land's also good for the Delvers. So I think purely off that, I think the Volcanic Island just wins out.
Yeah, nice. The Misty is definitely a resource we can use otherwise, which is pretty cool.
Well, especially if we have 2 Delvers in play and they don't have an counter magic, you can fetch between Delver triggers to reset your Delvers. That does open up Abrupt Decay on your second Delver, but so be it. Oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, Wasteland here more than fine.
Yeah, this is what I mean by like Wastelanding the turn 1 Delver can easily backfire. Is that a Brainstorm?
That is a Wasteland.
Play the Hex Drinker here. Just fetch Tropical Hex Drinker. The reason why we're doing this is it means we get to hold a blue spell and force, and Hex Drinker and Delvers are pretty equal threats.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Pretty aggressive play from our opponent to Wasteland with the Delver out, as you said before.
A lot of players do it. Like I noticed you do it a lot, and whilst it can trap the Delver players, it can also just backfire and just give us free tempo like this.
Yeah, as much as I would love to say that it has worked out a few times, I'm going to assume it's pretty close to being similar.
I would force this pitch Delver.
Yeah? Do you think that the value of Veil is so good?
Veil protecting us from Abrupt Decay is better.
Yeah, cool.
Because I would rather protect, like, I'd rather protect the threats in play. Like, cool, they're forcing back and this is perfectly fine. Like, sure. Please flip. Please just flip.
Pyroblast.
Yes. Cool. Play your lands and just put 2 mana into the Hex Shrink and attack.
Yeah, nice. Which definitely puts a bit of pressure on our opponent as well for finding an answer to it quickly.
Well, it means the opponent has to Abrupt Decay the Hex Drinker next turn, and then we have the Delver still.
Yeah.
And that's why I forced there, because in a world where opponent didn't force back, we put the Wasteland to Hex Drinker, and yeah, then if they don't do anything, we just kind of win. Like, yeah, this is going to be a fetch Tropical Abrupt Decay the Hex Drinker.
Wow, going for basics.
Oh, this is fine. Just move for combat and attack. Ah, sure.
Not the worst.
That's fine. So opponent played Delver game 1, right? Opponent definitely played Delver game 1. I remember seeing a Delver game 1. Did you?
That's a good question. Can't do anything
This
about
is
that.
fine. Unless opponent has another Abrupt Decay, we're winning this game.
No Delvers. Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's just more a bug mid-range.
I definitely saw a Delver game 1, I'm pretty sure, though. Really? 2 Abrupt Decays? Oh, this is bullshit. Oh, that was actually a perfect sequence for opponent. Oh, that's annoying. But yeah, that's why I valued forcing the Thoughtseize to keep the Veil in hat. Oh, this is bullshit. Yeah, so opponent's aggressive Wasteland strategy has worked out for them.
Yeah, really well.
I would just Wasteland that. I would not give opponent lands. I would just wasteland it.
Yeah, I guess the Wasteland isn't doing much for us right now
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, it's not cast like it's casting our 2-drops, but to cast the 2-drops we need to draw a land anyway, and by the time we draw a land we have a brainstorm. I'd rather keep opponent off like stuff.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, as I was saying, that's why I liked keeping the Veil more than I did the Force, was that it played around opponent having this is an hero just concede. Cool, we've lost. You cannot beat a hero. Like, no.
I will say my opponent has some nice taste in basics.
Yes.
Especially this island.
But yeah, like not much you could do there. Opponent had 2 Wastelands, 2 Abrupt Decay, the Thoughtseize for the Veil, and the Force to back it up. Like, that's just literally the perfect counter.
Really strong. Yeah.
It sounds fine.
Yeah.
This sounds like beautiful. This sounds like basically, apart from having a 1-drop and a cantrip, this is a perfect hand.
Yeah. Do you all fetch straight away, or you just keep the fetch land up?
You just go land pass. Giving away like playing a blue fetch land isn't much information. Fetching a rug land straight away is giving away a lot of information.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like, I believe this to be show and tell. Show and tell players always play that art, by the way. Show and tell players, you're very predictable. Just play Volcanic Island pass.
Yep. Just holding up Spell Pierce?
Yeah.
Cool. And then I assume, based on what we draw, I assume it might just be Goyf hold up Spell Pierce?
Yeah, probably.
Tundra.
Just Wasteland that pass.
Yeah, now I like Wasteland a lot.
Our game plan is to resolve this Clothis.
I assume just Wasteland and upkeep?
Yeah, Wasteland upkeep. If they cast a spell hit, you just Wasteland that. That'd be cool.
Brainstorm.
No, this is just a bad brainstorm. Let it resolve.
Yeah, it seems a little bit forced, which is nice.
If you're forcing your opponent to brainstorm in their upkeep, like, there is argument to spell piss it because they want it. It's also a very weak brainstorm, and I'm much more into getting a threat down and protecting it than I am cheesing my opponent out. Like, it's very good if you landlock them, but if they then just draw a land naturally, it's awkward.
Yeah, that's very true. Now that you've seen Brainstorm and Tundra, what do you think about next turn and what sort of threat we want to get on the board?
We're just slamming a Tom. Oh wait, what? This is bug. Okay.
That's a great spell pierce target. Yeah.
If opponent forces here, fetch Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Cool. This is interesting. I like just slamming the Clothis here, actually.
Yeah, nice. Would you get 1 Trop and 2 Folks?
With this hand, I don't think opponent's playing Wasteland, so I'm not exactly sure what matters. But I would get 2 Trops.
Okay.
I think that I don't think it matters too much, but because we're playing Hex Drinkers, I'd rather have the chance of playing Hex Drinker and Tarmogoyf. Yeah, cool. It's a force. Cool.
Yeah, really interesting. I thought that Sylvan Library would have definitely been worth forcing or fighting over, but
against Drug, maybe not, is what they were thinking. Especially if they play an Uro here, we get in a lot of trouble very quickly. Fuck Uro. This is fine. This fuck. I hate this card so much.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's.
Yeah, no, it absolutely, like, without your Clothis, it destroys double. That's why I was very keen on getting the Clothis online, because I really wanted. Cool. So yeah, we're pretty dead to that Uro once again. So I would cast your Ponder.
Yep. Do you think Wasteland's a pretty good find here?
Well, that, and we want spells in the bin for this whale we're about to cast. Shuffle this. I'm not interested in those cards.
Yep. Really want a Wasteland here. Double bolt. Okay.
This is fine. Just play your whale. What spells do we have in the bin?
We have Spell Pierce and Ponder.
Yeah, just exile the spells in 2 lands. Hang on, stop. Is it just instant sorceries or is it creatures as well? I forget. I think it's just instant sorceries.
It is just instant sorceries, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, just exile your lands and keep the enchantment in the bin for Tarmogoyf reasons.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, on Maverick, I've been having a bit of difficulty against these Uro BANT decks. They have a lot of different kind of ways to
It's just
disrupt
because
upland.
Uro eats into Delver's strategy in every single way. It eats into your tempo by gaining life. It eats into your plan B of just grind your opponent to a 1-for-1 and play the more powerful cards by being a very powerful card that keeps coming back.
Mm.
It eats into the mana denial strategy by just dumping lands into play. So it attacks all of Delver's strategies very well. That's a force of will, is it?
Yeah, opponent getting back force.
So they have a brainstorm and swords of plowshares. Oh, they just have a swords of plowshares. Interesting. Also, be careful not to yield all. It just means you don't have. It
It
just means your opponent knows you don't have force.
Yeah, it does give away information.
I would just slam both threats.
Yeah, nice. I guess that doesn't matter. Uro is the new just slot in your blue deck card. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. It's pretty powerful. Especially in a deck that...
I wouldn't call it the new slot in the blue deck card. It's been the I'm playing a control deck. I slam this deck in my card. Now Delver's doing it now because shot. Yeah, we're just going to get really wait, what? They have a terminus. Oh, we're super dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're being terminus to sure here. Yeah. I mean, you make your opponent show them the terminus, and game 2 you just resolve the Colossus.
Yeah, Cloth is pretty strong. The second Silver Library. I assume the
So
Veil's in the play.
the cards I would bring in the 2 Veils, the Colossus, and the library, the 3 Pyroblast. The cards I would cut 4 Forces. I like keeping exactly 2 Force Wills in verse control. Reasons is because I think Lightning Bolts are worse than 2 Forces. Like, I want to trim down to 2 Bolts.
Yeah.
And it is possible you want to cut all your Force... Oh, wait, they didn't terminus us?
Yeah, they didn't play a land either, which is interesting.
Oh, so they're digging a land to Uros, which makes sense. Yeah. I have a new plan. It's called Bolts Go Face.
Yep.
So remember the time I said the second tropical won't matter? Turns out it kind of matters in this specific hand. What is this?
Settle? No.
Can't be. Is this a Shark Typhoon? Bolt the Shark Typhoon. Cool, yeah,
Cool.
bolt that.
Yeah. Maverick is the true king. Do you have any thoughts to brainstorm here now? Is there anything that we want to find?
No. Rule of thumb is hold your brainstorms, and we have no reason to cast this brainstorm. For example, if opponent casts an Uro, well, opponent can't cast an Uro actually. Well, no, they can. They cycled. Interesting.
Yeah. So they really want a second green source.
So because they brainstorm locked themselves, we knew they didn't have a brainstorm in the top 2 cards, but they've now drawn the top 2 cards. So they're looking at one new card to find the green source. So I'm happy just to say go for it, draw your green source, opponent.
Yeah, okay. Feels like a Teferi? Yeah. We've already used 1 Spell Pierce, I believe.
Yeah, we have. Let us resolve. They should bounce the Delver, I'm pretty sure, which I'm okay with. Hopefully they just uptick for no good reason and we get to kill them. Or they bounce a Snapcaster.
Bounce a Snap because they have the Swords to Pass.
Why are they attacking? I don't get this attack.
I assume because it's free if they bounce the Snap.
Yeah, but we just killed... Oh, I guess they don't know that one. If they... How much damage do we actually have in play? Okay, cool. How much damage... How much damage do you have on the board?
We have a 4/5 and a 3 powered insect. I don't believe we can get the Goyf to a 5, which would be 8.
I'm not sure it matters. As long as we can put them on 1, we should stop them casting a row.
Yeah, I mean, if there's Ponder Shuffles, it's pretty huge. I guess they could also find a fetch land, so...
Yeah.
Does that mean you want to end step Brainstorm to try to dig for a fetch? Oh, of course, because of Teferi. Yeah. And I assume if you untap...
You definitely want to sorcery speed the Brainstorm in your first main phase, though. Ah, well, that's a good land to find. Okay. What? Ooh, that's another good land to find. Just waste on the drop. Okay, what's in the bin?
We have enchantment. Oh, in our bin.
No, just an orbit. Like what's fueling Tarmogoyf?
Enchantment, instant, creature, land, sorcery. So Planeswalker is the big one. Which I guess we could bolt the Teferi and then go face.
It's damage negative to do that. Brainstorm first and see what happens.
Is it? Because if we send 3 at the Teferi and 5 at them, isn't it better to?
No, we're not attacking them. We're just attacking. We're not attacking Teferi. We're just going face.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, sorcery the Brainstorm just to see what happens. We wouldn't have a red source here. I'm okay with this. Put the Hex Drinker, put the Brazen Burrower back.
And keep the Sylvan Library?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, so that's fine. Yeah, just keep the Sylvan Library. The only other argument was to keep the Hex Drinker and play the Hex Drinker and bolt them, but it's fine. Yeah. Just attack with both of them, then play the library.
Cool. You don't want to care about the Teferi?
No.
Cool.
No, Teferi's done its job.
Yeah.
Like, what wins in this game is that Uro, and unfortunately, hang on, when they take an extra damage, was there no instance in the bin?
Oh, there wasn't. Oh, there was. Bolt.
Of course. Hang on. But what caused the extra damage?
Nothing. It was a 5/6 and a 3, which is an 8 to 14.
Well, what fueled the Tarmogoyf then?
Enchantment, you said creature, instant, sorcery.
I was going to say enchantment. Tarmogoyf's usually a 4/5. If you have an enchantment, then it should be a 5/6. But okay, never mind.
Yeah, which is both Clots and Shark Typhoon.
Yeah. Just play the library. It's fine. This means we should win the. Yeah, this means we win the game if they play in a row. Kinda, mostly. If they force this, it gets very awkward though. We put you put the Brazen Bow on top, right?
I think so, yeah.
Cool. I should have verified we had to do that. Yeah, because I just said to put them on top. I didn't verify what order did I. Yeah, no. The reason why we wanted the Brazen Bow on top is that we can bounce it as a blocker, hit them for 7, and bolt them. Hit them for 8. Well, sure. It doesn't matter how much we hit them for. You just want to bounce the thing and kill them. With the library in play, it doesn't matter because we just draw the cards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, chat's saying I put Hex on top, unfortunately. So hopefully the Sylvan Library does stick here. This feels just like Snapcaster into Swords to Plowshares.
This can't be. They're attacking the white source.
Engineered explosives for 2.
That's fine.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Still doesn't beat double bolt.
That's
fine. Yeah.
They have a force in hand for sure now. There's not much you can do about it. So the Hex Drink on top is actually more optimal now, so you lucked out.
Jack, I just knew what was coming.
Yeah, so attacking with 3, bolt them, then play the Hex Drinker. They will have a Force of Will in hand, so yeah. You can tell they have a Force of Will in hand, so they'll think about forcing the library, then let it resolve. So yeah, once again, the person who said get the second drop was an idiot. Imagine not seeing the fact you would draw 3 lightning bolts.
It happens.
Yeah, play the Hex Drinker, put a mana into it.
Yep. Which is nice, because Teferi Bounce is still a turn away.
Yeah. And this is why I didn't really want to particularly care about the Teferi. I just didn't think it was relevant for the rest of the game. If they get to a point where they get to use Teferi again, the Uro wins.
Yeah, we've been pretty good as well at just trying to keep them off the Uro as well. I guess they have been off the green.
They've also been kind of unlucky not finding the land, truth be told.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
just
is
put
a
one.
point where I really like the hex. You just get to use your mana as...
Yeah, yeah, like it's just a very good well, it's awkwardly bad actually because okay, this is fine. This is fine. Opponent's going to find the green source, cast the Uro, and as long as they don't have even a second force makes them lose actually, so we win.
Hmm.
So yeah, opponent needs to have 2 forces in hand. They will have 4 cards in hand, so it's No, it's not mathematically possible, is it? No, it is mathematically possible. They can have exactly perfect in hand to have the thing. But it just feels like a plow. Yeah, so your opponent's got a snap sword. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a mana into Hex Drinker. Not the red source. Put a green mana into Hex Drinker. Do it again. They're going to snap plow Hex Drinker.
Yep.
Cool. This is fine. Move to combat.
Yeah, interesting. I guess the other play was actually snap swords the Delver and then just block the Hex Drinker and then bounce it with Teferi.
They play with Ice Lane Quaddle is what they're suggesting, but like I don't care. We're just going to attack them and bolt them.
Hmm. Hey, thanks, Dark Cloud. Enjoy your week ahead. Hopefully, see you soon. All right. Well, hopefully the bolt gets there. Oh, no Death Touch. Very big.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't super concerned about it. Oh, really, opponent? Look, on the bright side, they can't fetch anymore. One bright side is they can't fetch anymore.
Yeah, I guess they have to have the natural green source. I wonder if they have to just trade the Teferi here. Yeah, it's pretty big for us.
They definitely will. Ah, they drew an Ura. Oh, that's fine. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I drew the green source finally. Let's see what we draw here. Play $2. Just double them.
Serpent, the only issue is we can't instant speed because of Teferi, so we couldn't have bolted the
Actually,
the Ice Fang.
sorry. Yeah. There was also an argument to just passing in Brazen Borrow end of turn, actually. There was an argument to do that, but I think this is still slightly better. Because it means I need to have a Wrath. I mean, they have to I don't say they can't get out of this, truth be told. They just can't, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it'd have to be like like maybe Ice Fang into swords, but then the Ice Fang just dies. It's tough.
So that's the advantage of playing a very mid-ranged Delver deck like this, is you can play games like that. Cut your force negations, 3 lightning bolts. So the chain lightning plus 2 bolts, and just bring the 7 cards I mentioned.
Cool. Nice to win game 1.
And the Clothis.
Cool. Yeah, Clothis pretty nice here.
Yeah.
I assume Teferi's their only out. I assume they would run anything like Council's Judgment.
Yeah, basically. And you are happy just to Pyroblast and counter the ways to do a Clothis. Like, you're happy to always just force through a Clothis if they counter it.
Hmm. What are your thoughts on True Name in this matchup?
True Name's terrible versus Uro. That's like, you attack for 3, they attack for 6 and gain 3. You keep it back as a blocker to block the Uro, they just gain 3 and draw a card. Like, there's no trade-off in that situation.
That's tough. Hey,
that's why I value threats like Clothis much more, because Clothis is a very good natural answer to Uro.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think your opponent would expect 2 post-board?
Yes. 1 main deck is rare, but 2 post-board is very common.
Yeah, cool. It's a sweet card. Probably one of my favorite printings of 2020.
Yeah, look, it's a card a lot of people didn't really credit for, because I was like, it's a 3-mana Deathrite Shaman. How can a 3-mana Deathrite Shaman be good? Turns out a completely, basically unkillable 3-mana Deathrite Shaman is very good, especially when it gains you life as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yihei says he likes 1 Surgical as well.
I hate Surgical versus Uro decks. It doesn't work in Delver. Like, it just doesn't. Like, UA, sure. Yeah, like I understand why you want it because you want to play this really, really grindy game against the Euro decks where you play the control mirror. The problem is that we don't want to do that. We just want to kill them, and holding a surgical in hand slows down your natural tempo game plan, which lets them get to the Euro position in the first place. And you don't want to be reactive, and that's what the card is. It's reactive. You'd rather just play the Delver right here and kill them, for an example.
Yeah, very true. Oh, surgical plow.
I don't like surgical plow ever. I think it's for some reasons like yeah, it just loses more games than it wins. Cool. See if Delver flips attack, then decide what to do.
It does.
Cool.
And it's a
Opponent's
force,
gonna
which is
keep
pretty
it.
nice.
Oh, opponent doesn't have a swords to plowshare either. Good news.
Do you like pondering here
Yeah,
for a sorcerer can cast Pyro?
yeah, you really want a red sorcerer. And also, you just want to put spells in the bin for the forager anyway. I'll shuffle this. Play the wasteland and pass. If your opponent does anything relevant for, well, depends what they do exactly. If they cast like a counterbalance here, force pitch whale though.
Okay, because we already have two good threats in Delver and Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, this is fine. Just untap, move the combat, hit them for 3, then evaluate. Play the Tarmogoyf.
Okay.
The opponent's going to flash in a Ice Thing Quaddle end of turn. We're going to force pitch whale. No Ice Thing? Oh, this is beautiful.
Fetch.
Huh. What requires 3 mana? Oh, they're just playing around Stifle. This might just be an end of turn plow around Stifle. Yeah, it is. Okay, so I want to decide if we want to force this plow. I think we force pitch the whale. I think this is a tempo game, not a whale game.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Especially just keep 2 threats on board at all times is pretty nice.
I think opponents played very defensively to play around, the disruption threats, and if we get bailed here, it sucks really badly. But besides, this is fine. I think Veil is quite bad against Delver because you want to operate at +1 versus Delver to play around the days. And to effectively Veil a force, you need to operate at +2, which they did have here, but because they didn't have the Veil or natural counterspell in hand, now if they brainstorm into the Veil, they're only at +1, so the Veil just gets dazed straight away.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, Veil of Summer, a pretty interesting card. I think a card that a lot of people don't like, and a card that a lot of people do like.
The card is certainly very powerful, and when you're trying to resolve a Clothis, or I think it's questionably average versus blue-white control decks. The only reason I don't hate it here is that we have Sylvan Library and Clothis, and pushing those cards through is just very powerful.
Nothing.
Cool. If they just slam a 3-drop Phaser, if they play a land and a 3-drop, well. They do play Terminus. Okay, cool. I mean, sure.
Definitely don't want a 5.
Yeah. Just Tazers.
Yeah.
This is really bad for us, though.
Yeah, I guess is there any point in holding up Pyro if we draw the Volkia?
Yes, unfortunately there is. You play the Vulcan pass.
It's really interesting to actually play the Delver side and see how much of an impact Uro has.
Oh yeah, the card is backbreaking for Delver. Like you can rarely beat when the opponent becomes an Uro game. I complain about the card for very good reasons.
Yeah, definitely. I played a BANT Maverick style version of Maverick when Uro was around, and there was a game against Delver where I thought I was dead, and I drew a Uro, and it got into play, and I just attacked, and it just got me back in the game so well. Interesting.
Opponents are playing around Stifle, exactly. Like, yeah, so just no, we are playing the Delver here. We're not playing around. We're not playing around the I have Euro plus fours. We do need to actually win this game at some point, especially if they have an Euro. Like
Yeah.
they definitely are playing around the Stifle though. So fuck.
Is this Teferi? Land
Yeah.
first.
This is beautiful. You have to Pirate Blast that, unfortunately. Are they going to? Okay, cool. They're going to fetch now, though. So this is the beautiful thing. Because they've been playing around Stifle, they're going to use that Misty Rainforest and fetch for Tropical. We're going to play a double Wasteland and double Wasteland and Tropical. So it's actually a beautiful situation for us.
Yeah, nice. I like that pickup.
No, yeah, I'm playing Death and Taxes this weekend.
Basic.
Oh, they got a basic. They're not
Library.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, they're on the shop. They're cool. Yeah, okay, shop.
So library. It's pretty good for us.
Yeah, it is.
Just means we can't hold up Veil, which isn't the worst.
We're going to Wasteland our opponent now.
Yeah.
We're actually going to Wasteland them. I'm going to play that library. And boy, are we drawing 8 of this library without looking at the cards. Snap drawing 8. No idea. When they fetch the tropical, I assume they had no more basics in the deck. Truth be told. Turns out it was just wrong. But you can see how important it is with Delver to read mana signaling and to read what your opponent's trying to play around. For reasonable situations, if we were playing Stifles right now, it would be very tempting to potentially side them out, even though they're very good in the play, which I wouldn't. But you can think of doing these strategies because the opponent is so hell bent on playing around it anyway. You just don't need them.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think our opponent's just on the 5 basics?
Yeah, I think I would only play. I would play 3 island, 1 forest, 1 plains, and just play 3 tropicals in a BANT deck. Not play the second forest. I think if you're playing 3 tropicals, you don't need it. And I'd rather have more blue sources. Truth be told. Cool. Yeah, just pay it.
Come on, Pyroblast. Close.
Yeah, just pay it. You're attacking with the double. You're going to 5. Shit. Yeah. You're attacking. You're going to 5, and then we're awkward. I just don't think blocking is a viable strategy here.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Uro by itself is really good, but Uro with Sylvan Library is pretty huge.
So yeah, I am playing Rug Delver actually. Yeah, board against Rug Delver. Just have tons of sideboard against Rug Delver for me. But yeah, winning this game on the draw is just difficult, especially when you don't draw cards like Clothis and stuff, and your opponent drew the early Euro.
At least this is only game 2, right?
Yeah, this is only game 2.
Yeah, nice.
No, you don't want surgical. Like surgical is just a trap. You just don't want surgical in these matchups.
Forge is interesting.
What do we have in the bin for Forger?
Pyroblast, Daze, Force of Will, Ponder.
Pay for.
Go to 1?
Yes, go to 1.
Okay. So you're saying you'd rather hold up, I guess, play Delver and Aethel Forger instead of holding up Veil?
Yeah. Like, Veil's only going to stop canna spells, so we're going to play the Forger first and see if they canna.
Cool.
And if they do, we Veil. If they don't, we just play the Delver. Does that make sense?
Yeah, nice.
Because I want the Delver to block the Euro. Okay. Play the Delver and don't attack.
Okay.
This way, opponent requires to have 2 plows to beat us. They have 2 plows. They have, like, honestly, actually, there's an argument to just attacking the Delver anyway, because if they plow a whale, we lose anyway. So yeah, attack with the Delver, actually. Yeah, you just have to.
At this stage of the game, would you keep the Wasteland in hand as well?
I mean, what does Wasteland do here? The only reason we want this, like, the only thing this Wasteland does is get Brainstorm back into the deck.
Yep.
Like it's not doing anything. Just hold it for brainstorm fodder.
Which I guess is a bit tougher as well at 1 life, not being able to fetch. Snap.
4 days is on the draw is fine. Like you want to daze stuff. Like I get Uro turns off days, and the thing is, if they start Uroing you, you've already lost. Like surgical is cool. Just concede you've lost.
We've lost, Jack. This is a team effort.
Oh sure, we've lost.
Would you make any
just send
changes?
it back.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to
just
send it back as well. I definitely feel like we're beat down in this matchup.
Daze is good. They're very 3-drop heavy, and they're very 2-drop heavy with their stuff. Like, yes, they play 5 basics, but if you force them to fetch the basics, you make the hand awkward. Honestly, they can and can't. Like, it gets like they do have to commit to something. Like, they're not that much removal heavy. They do have to commit to the board because they're just playing this greedy pile. It's the snap key.
Yeah, this is really nice. I assume Tome and Hex Drinker, and then go from there.
The only issue with this hand is Lightning Bolt sucks, and Brazen Burrow is meh. But like, this is just me being greedy of me wanting that Brazen Burrow to be a Delver and that Bolt to be a 4th or a Daze. The problem is that they're not that removal heavy. Like they have like 6 removal spells in the deck, and that's it. Cool. This is just a we move to combat and attack them.
Hey kiddo, welcome. Hope you're well. Are you interested just in Ponder here?
Yeah, play it. Just Ponder straight away. Don't play your land.
3rd land would be great in like a Daze, but this is still okay.
What's a top card?
Ethereal Forger, Bolt, Trop.
I am very tempted to shuffle this. I am very tempted to shuffle this.
I think here all we really want is a land here, and I think we have a pretty high chance of drawing that.
That's the issue, is that I don't want the Bolt and the Forger, but I want the land. So I think we shuffle this. The Daze is good. Play the stop. Pass the turn. There's no point in Sorcery Spinning the Brainstorm. I don't think we want to put mana into Hex Drinker yet. Like, I think opponent's going to allow Hex Drinker end of turn. So I think we just pass.
Yeah. Yeah, Hex is nice here, because unless they have something like Teferi, it's
this is the library.
Pretty hard for them to actually get out of there. Ooh, Carpet.
I hate that card so much.
Yeah, it seems really strong against Rogue.
This is fine. This is unfortunately fine. Hopefully they just go to a second main phase and cast... I don't want them casting shit, to be honest. Well, on the bright side, they can't Uro this time. They can only play Teferi. Which look like they can't... this is just cantrip. This is fine. Definitely Brainstorm for the 3rd land, though.
Yeah, cool. A Wasteland would actually be pretty nice to find.
No, you don't want a Wasteland. They have a carpet.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you want a Wasteland, but you're not using it. What's going to happen is that we're going to put 3 mana into this Hex Drinker. They're going to plow, and we're going to Daze the plow.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
Perfect. Put 2 lands on top.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. If they plow here, just let it go and resolve their Cloffice. Cool. Yeah, just put my... This is fine. Just slam the Cloffice down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nice timing, because of course we can't use the mana here for Hex.
Yeah.
But being able to resolve this clots is really nice.
Yeah.
Would you go for a Trop because we have the Veil?
I'd go for a Trop, yeah. Generally speaking, Rug isn't that red heavy, and in control matchups, you don't want a lot of bolts anyway. So, The awkward thing is we've forced to have so many islands in play. If they have a Teferi, it gets really awkward.
Yeah, especially with the days being pretty much turned off.
Yeah. The days is and isn't turned off at the same time. Because the days lets us bounce an island, it has good effects against the carpet. They have it? Oh, gross.
Nice.
But yeah, like Council Judgment has to be like a 1 to 2 of that most. Like you can't play a lot of that card. It's just very play your own library.
Yeah, that's pretty
Keep
good.
the green source up. Hopefully they just force it. Just okay. That's fine. Opponent doesn't have any threats though, from the looks of it. They would be jamming threats.
Yeah, especially with 3 mana they're available. A lot of good 3-drops in this deck.
So opponent's ripping off the top, that means, and ripping off the top is awkwardly good for us. Awkwardly bad for us, awkwardly good for them. That's an error. Did they make mana with the thing?
Yeah, I believe they made
They
3
Cool.
green.
That's fine then. So if they play a land here, move to the second main phase, we're dazing and we're not playing the land, we're keeping land in hand. Cool. I expect them to cast a Teferi or something second. They can cast it now actually. That's fine. Yeah, they can just do it now, can't they?
Yeah.
That's good. Just draw it. Just draw it.
Do you have any thoughts in cycling the Veil or keeping it because it's a lot better?
Just keep it. Definitely keep it. Yeah, just pay the 8 here.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. We're going to cast Ponder for Tropical.
I guess Reb's up there, but what else are you trying to find?
What are those cards?
Ethereal Forger, Ponder, Wasteland.
So the card I'm after is a Force of Will. I want to bounce the Carpet of Flowers. I want to force the Carpet of Flowers. And I want to veil any kind of magic I have, is what I wanted to do. Okay, so what can we do here? This sounds crazy. But can the Forger beat the Earth?
We currently have Ponder and Brainstorm in the bin.
Plus another Ponder we're about to put in the bin. We have 8 minutes on the clock, so we do have time to think about this. The problem is that shuffling here is awkwardly bad, and truth be told, these cards aren't... Well, the Wasteland's terrible, but the other cards are not terrible. I think we shuffle. The Forger does very tempt me. Like, Forger... But I could just have a Plow. We have no defense strokes. We haven't played a threat, have we? Just shuffle.
Yeah, I think the shuffle into either Force or Reb would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it just Goyf pass with Veil?
I don't really want... I don't really want to commit more islands into the boards. I guess we don't have to. We do have to with that line, though. Okay. Okay. What happens if we play the Wasteland? No, don't play it. I'm just thinking. What happens if we play the Wasteland? We bounce the Carpet. We then Wasteland one of our islands. We'll have 2 islands left. They play that. They have enough for Uro, and they can beat it days. Awkward. Because how many cards in the graveyard?
I currently have 5, and for
So the
them,
fetch line gives them 6.
yeah. The fetch line gives them 5. We have 6. Sorry.
So they have 5 cards currently,
2,
or
4
cards.
They currently have 4 and Uru, and we have 5.
Okay, so the fetch line gives them the Uro, is what I'm trying to determine, which it does. Yeah, this is just what Uro does to Delvedel. He just takes over the game extremely quickly. You play the Tropical, play the Tropical. I don't like it. Uh, we want to. The unfortunate thing is that the Wasteland line doesn't achieve anything. Like, I looked at the Wasteland line and they can still beat us. So it doesn't do anything. And because we haven't found any of the, like, this is why I like keeping exactly two forces into situations like this where you just want to counter annoying things.
Yeah,
But at the
definitely.
same time, like, you can't leave a lot of forces in. And there's maybe argument for the third force over one of the lightning bolts, which is very reasonable, and it's something I might have to explore. But generally, this was the board strategy when I had Dreadhorde Arcanist and stuff like that. You do not want surgical. Surgical is no, no. Trust me, you do not want surgical. Surgical is a trap. The problem is that it's not. Surgical the hero isn't what wins the game. Like, we would still be losing this game without a surgical in our hand. Because with surgical hero, like, even with the library, like, maybe exactly not with the library we wouldn't be that, but it requires you to have a library, it requires you to have a surgical, and it requires them to have not cast Uro and killed us. Yes, and that's why Uro is good versus stealth. You have to. The problem is that surgical is not a winning card. Surgical loses you more games than it does surgical the Euro. Like, all the games where you can surgical the Euro, you will still lose that game just because the Euro has done its work. It's gamed in 3 life, it's into your tempo, and they've just taken over the game. Yeah, but the problem is that, like, yes, it's hard to race an Euro, but bringing in a card that does nothing, that slows your game plan down, isn't how you win. Because you need Delver needs all its cards to beat this deck because they have so many Sword Splashes, so many of this. You need every single card to be online. The reason we're not winning this game is that the Lightning Bolt in our hand, the Brazen Bottle in our hand, were not good cards. If they were good cards, we would be in a winning position. And that's why having a surgical just isn't good because the card does nothing in the early game. And you can't win by doing that.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Soul Guide Lantern is a pretty cool card that I like against Uro decks.
So Uridex were on a downtick, is why I cut. I was playing relics and cards like that for the
Okay.
matchup, but because Uridex were on a downtick, I took them out. And yes, they're currently on an uptick, but so be it. What is that card? Is that a brainstorm?
Yes.
That's an interesting call. Why do they want to brainstorm? They have lands in hand, is what they're saying. Okay.
Hmm.
Bolt. Okay, so the reason why I kept two bolts in is that Dreaded Arcanist and Oko let you bolt in a row, which is granted the matchup has changed, and I did keep similar boarding patterns. Bolt also lets you kill them though, and kills Ice Sanquaddles and kills walkers that are nearly dead. Like, Bolt does. The problem the problem is that it just really doesn't. Like, you just need card quality, and Surgical is not card quality. So Veils are fine. Maybe like, as I said, maybe you could have a third force, and the Veil and the bolts could be a third force. Like, I'm okay with leaving a number of forces in versus blue control because of key cards you have to force, like carpet and things like that.
Yep.
And I used to play engineered explosives in my sideboard to clear up astrolabes and carpets. And well, obviously, yeah, this is awkwardly, yeah, sure. Uh, cool. This is actually really good. We get to daze this because they're going to CJL. They can get to daze it. This is actually hilariously good for us. Bounce a tropical.
Yeah. And then we have the Veil up as well, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah, you're just paying 8 here again. Don't be 3
Ooh.
lands.
Okay, Pyro's pretty good. Pyro's
Pyro's
definitely a
good.
start.
Just pay the 8. Cool. How do we want to do things? So first things first, Pyroblast the Uro and attack.
Yeah.
Okay. How much do we value our this Snapcaster putting us to 2 life?
Interesting. I don't think it's relevant.
I think giving them carpet mana is mostly irrelevant right now, is the other argument. Like, they can chain cantrips into an Uro,
Mm-hmm.
but they have what, 3? They have 8 mana. Like, they can. Actually, how much green mana do they have? Stop. So, hang on. I have a great line here. Wasteland the tropical and bounce the carpet.
You say Wasteland, they're tropical?
Yes, and that. Look at the mana base
Interesting.
right
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we play Trop first just so they can't
now. No,
counter the
play
bounce?
Wasteland. Play Wasteland. Play Wasteland.
There we go.
Play
Plays on
Wasteland.
days.
Yes. Also, we have 4 minutes on the clock. We have to play fast. So yeah, just bounce the carpet, Wasteland them. If they have a force, they shouldn't have a force. They should not have a force there. Cool, and just Wasteland the tropical. Yay! We fucked the mana base. And yeah, just play faster. Just plow. Thank you.
That's pretty nice.
Fuck. That fetchland's actually terrible fast. They can just cast the carpet again. That's actually just really bad.
Yep.
I just hopefully they don't have another. How many tropicals have we wasted?
Oh, they didn't play it.
I don't have another tropical. This is beautiful. Cool. Yeah, just put back the lands.
Second
Put
library?
back the land. Sure. Fine. Put back the library. I'll play the fetch land anyway.
Yep.
Fetch.
Play Delver and then just hold up.
Yeah. You can cast Brazen Bow at any time as well.
Yeah, cool. Hey, Tal, yeah. We'll probably be back on Maverick on
that's fine.
Sunday. I actually have a co-stream with Loma Boy actually on Sunday, so that should be pretty fun. Playing probably 4-color Loam, but we'll see if...
They had another green soul.
Interesting.
I think they were playing around Stifle again. Oh, whatever.
Interesting. I guess we Veil here in response?
No, you just cast a Brazen Burrow. You have no choice. They're going to bounce the library anyway, so it's fine. If they bounce your Brazen Burrow, well, we just have another petty theft in hand, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, they're just going to bounce the library, play the carpet, then cast the Euro, which is very bad for us.
Yeah, sorry, I should look more at time.
Yeah.
Chat enjoying Loam, which is nice. Yeah, carpet, second main, Euro.
Yeah. And this is why I want my Oko back, so I can actually just Oko the fuck. It doesn't win. I can guarantee you, it will not win you the game. I have played many matches on both sides of that mirror, and the Uro always wins. You Elk it, then they attack you with the Elk, and you're like, fuck, do I block that? And it's like, maybe. Then they just cast another Uro, and they just cycle between the Uros, and they just grind you, and they Abrupt Decay or Pyroblast your Oko, and then the Uro just wins, as it always does.
Yeah, it's tough. I guess, like, first step here is just naturally drawing either a Pond, or Brainstorm, or Pyro. Okay. Okay, there we go. Probably just 2 lands back.
No. Put a land and a bolt on top.
Okay.
You want to flip your Delver, right?
Yeah, okay. Blast this.
Yeah. Play another land, play the Dolphin Library.
Are we attacking the Teferi or them?
Stop. You're attacking Teferi at this point.
Okay.
Actually, no. You're not attacking Teferi. You're attacking them. The only reason you don't want to attack Teferi is A, we're on a time, and B, we want to put more cards in the bin for the Euro.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
If the game goes to a point where I can use the Teferi again, we will lose. The Euro is going to kill us anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a small thing. Always remember to try and set your brainstorms up so they flip your Delvers.
Yeah. that's definitely a consideration. As a non-Delver player, that's something that I should definitely get used to if I do want to play Delver a lot more in paper and online.
The point where they just chain cantrips into an arrow each turn, we can't do much.
Yeah, pretty funny. I mean, if they can get 5 cards in the bin in one turn, then congrats to them.
They can't this time because of their lack of mana. Like they're going to need exactly 2 blue sources and the green sources off the carpet to cast the arrow.
Yeah, I guess fetch.
The only difference is they have a fetch land. They can fetch for a blue source. They can play another thing, and they can make that. Yeah, cool. This is fine. I'll just take the damage.
All right.
So the issue here is that we can't. Oh, that's a Narset. That's fine. Ish. I mean, it just means we can't. How much time do they have left?
Just over 2 minutes, so we get an extra minute. So luckily we have the bolt here, which deals with the snap.
I would bolt the snap.
Yep.
I would kill both the planeswalkers. They have enough cards in the bin. They probably have a play on hand, but let them decide which they want to keep. They will probably protect the Narset though. Actually,
Nice.
stop. We should have wastelanded main phase 1. We should have wastelanded the white source main phase 1.
This one?
Then we got So then we got to decide which planeswalker survived. But
Yep.
it's fine. Don't wasteland them. They'll just pass the time.
Cool. Haha, thanks, Jimmy. Screwing up Delver flips with Brainstorm just shows that your heart is at the right place. Green white.
So yeah, opponent decided to cast the library when they're short on clock.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I don't like about carpet on MTGO is that it takes up a lot of time, especially if for some reason you do want to use the carpet in your second main. That's fine.
Sure, opponent. Please waste time casting back to basics. Please waste time casting back to. We're not using our lands.
Interesting opponent. I guess we have one blocker in the Delver.
So if we kill the 0, we basically win.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we win by a time, which isn't my favorite way to win, but it happened.
Yeah, sadly, it's part of MTGO.
I would cycle your veil. Fine.
Sorry, yeah, I should have definitely done that.
Sure. Sure. Your passing turn.
Are we attacking with the Brazen Borrow? Because it can't bounce? Can't block?
Just keep it back. Hope they don't read the card.
Yeah, that's fair.
A lot of people don't actually read Brazen Borrow. Ah, cool. This is fine. I'll let that resolve. Cool. Yeah, cool. Cycle your veil here now, though. Yeah, just do it now. Cool. Just let them untap now.
This is tough because you have to find Bolt to take care of the snap.
Yeah, unfortunately they have lethal in play, but start the combat just brainstorm off the Volk. Brainstorm off the drop. My apologies. Do not tap out. If this is a Teferi, we just lose, right? Cool. Yeah, we're pretty dead. This has to hit perfect, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure it's possible to hit perfect because we have a land on top, don't we?
Borrower, bounce the snap, but then they can just insect.
Yeah. Fortunately, they've won the game. They've just won the game. Very close game, though. Well, I mean, yeah, the thing is, they just bounce out. Yeah, they just bounce a thing and kill us with the Snapcaster.
Yeah.
Sure.
Rough. Nice. Close games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not really. They were close because our opponent was nearly close to clocking. But besides the clock that we weren't really winning. And yeah, this is the problem that Delver can face is that if you go the mid-range route, which is good against other Delver decks, it means you're worse versus Uro decks. And honestly, the mana base hasn't really felt clunky, and I felt the deck list is fine. I just feel like Uro decks are really bad matchups when we run into two of them. And second opponent's deck list was just ultra weird. I'm not sure we play. Oh, this sounds perfect.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve. Welcome. I hope you're well. And Serpentude, very cool interaction with Carpet and Leovold. Triggering twice, which is target, which means if you have a Leovold out and for some reason your opponent does use the second main phase as their time to use the Carpet, then you get 2 draws, which is cool.
But this is what I was talking about the key cards. Oh, this is Shadow. This is great. The key cards in Delver and Snow were Uro and Dreadhorde rather than the Oko. So hitting one of the key cards, not hitting the other, has left kind of a power imbalance, as you just noticed.
Yeah.
So fun fact: we're not bolting. We're not bolting that Delver. We're attacking for 3 and passing.
Cool.
So play a land. You can fetch it. You can. They might have stats, so we do want to fetch it.
Cool.
But we're not bolting the Delver yet. So Shadow decks have one funny weakness called they kind of just lose to you bolting their face a lot of times, and we're going to exploit that weakness.
Yeah. Are you gonna hold Ponder here?
Yeah, we're holding up Spell Pierce. There's argument we want to bolt the Delver if they hold it back and they do something else.
Yeah. Okay. Just to make sure the Delver's always getting through.
Yeah. And like we want to counter the card. What do they do here? This is interesting. Okay, bolt the Delver. Cool. I'll let that go through.
Pretty happy
Spell
to
Pierce
Spell Pierce this, yeah.
If their days back, we don't particularly care. Like, we're okay with them days back here.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we're going to untap and ponder. Attack first, though.
Days is pretty nice.
Yeah. And that's why holding ponder last time was just better, because it just set us so much better for this turn. And honestly, I thought we were using Spell Pierce and Bolt last time anyway. Shuffle this. There is argument taking that Force, but no, just shuffle.
Yeah.
That's fine. They probably won't have double wasteland. If they have double wasteland, we still have a 3/2 to hit them with.
Yeah, exactly. Opponent probably thinking of something like Street Wraith here. Which is tough
because
because
a card like Snuff Out.
Yeah, okay.
Which you just untap and do.
Just to play around cards like Days.
Yeah.
Fatal Push.
This is fine. Let it happen. If they play a Shadow here, Days it.
Pretty happy to.
I would Daze as Thoughtseize.
Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty nice trade.
Yeah. If they force back here, so be it. Okay, that's fine. Awesome.
Good pickup, yeah.
Interesting. What are we going to do here? I like just going Vault Pass. Tarn Pass.
Okay.
I like playing around potential wastelands. I like this whale is very easy to counter, but I also like potentially slamming the whale.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Hey Dan, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? A third Thoughtseize. It's pretty good. I think we just let this resolve. There's no.
They're just going to take the whale here, which is awkward, but there's not much you can do about it. And these bolts can be pretty threatening, and this is why I liked holding on to the bolt, is that we could potentially set up a situation where they Thoughtseize us, we double bolt them and untap and just double them. They don't have a shadow. Oh, well, I mean, they might have a shadow actually. They might have been playing a shadow around bolt, but the fact they fetch the underground's interesting. So they fetched the underground sea, didn't shock themselves, which suggests to me they drew the Delver after that. Because it makes no sense not to, I guess I'm maybe thinking of the Thoughtseize resolving those, so maybe that's not true. Just play your Tropical and Ponder here.
Okay. Do you want to
I
fetch
think
first?
no. I think so. Ponder gets more powerful when you have a fetch land. I want to maximize his Ponder's power. Yeah. Speaking of maximizing the Ponder power, just shuffle.
Yeah. I think we really want to like even a
Yeah.
Delver here would be kind of nice. Another Ponder.
Just fetch Vogue Ponder. Shuffle.
Yep. Okay. It's not the worst draw. It does turn on the force, which is nice. But
it is a forced pitch.
Yeah. There's definitely better cards.
That's fine. There is argument to start forcing cantrips on both players on low resources, but I don't think we're quite there yet. What we do want, though, is...
They chose not to shuffle.
Okay. Steven, get your bug bullshit out of here. This is a rug stream. This is a rug stream. Sure, your bug matchup's better against Shadow. Sure, fine. You're right on this one Pacific Snow. Fuck, that library's garbage. Play the library.
Yeah.
But just force it. Please just force it. We're not forcing back if they force it. We're just accepting our library. Oh.
Days is pretty good.
Force that. Force that. That's painful. Don't have another one opponent. If they have another one, just throw the deck at them and rage quit.
I assume Delver no longer plays was it Stubble Denial?
It doesn't.
Okay.
Okay. It's this type of stream.
So I guess if they have a fetch, then they got it. If they have, I guess then we would yeah. I was gonna say if they had yeah, if they had fetch to shock, but then
wow, all these Melbourneites are giving me shit. I will mind you, my Rug Delver deck never lost in Melbourne. Thank you, Melbourneites. Yeah, your big boy Tarmogoyf isn't as good as their big boy Tarmogoyf.
It isn't, unfortunately.
And we don't. So the unfortunate issue is that we don't have two red sources here, so we can't double bolt them.
Yeah, I assume even draw a card,
So the only way we win this game if opponent casts what's the both player draw two card? If they cast that, we can win.
Okay.
But
both
besides
players draw two cards.
Yeah, it's a 2-mana sorcery. Both players draw two cards. It's really bad.
Okay, interesting.
But Tempo decks used to play it because the argument was that you got to use the cards before your opponent did.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Hey, Alistair, could you please tell me who won that event again? If I recall correctly, you got killed by a Hex Drinker on stream in the finals.
I think our only way out of this is drawing like a Delver here or a Hex Drinker to block the Death Shadow and then draw into a second. But oof.
Well, those are the two cards you need to win the game.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that is just going to be game.
Yeah, I agree with Nathan here. So,
could have bolted ourselves?
We definitely misplayed that last time. Yeah, we should have just bolted ourselves. Okay, so these Veiler summons, yeah, they're quite good against this deck.
Is this the matchup where you like True Name?
Yes. I do like it more than Clothis, even though Clothis can really cheese them really hard.
Okay.
Like Clothis can really cheese them because them racing Clothis is hard. But I think a True Name's ability to block a shadow is slightly superior.
Okay.
Yeah. So cut the Clothis. Cut lots of forces. Cool. Bring in back a Force at Will. No, you don't bring in Pyroblast in this matchup. It's got no targets.
Okay. Yeah. Do you select the 5 chain effects or 5 bolt effects?
Yeah, Shadow's weak to bolt.
Yeah, cool. Spell
The
pierce
reason
seems
I
great
don't-
still, especially on the plate.
Yeah. Like the only other argument is a second library, and I don't exactly want two library. Like there's a reason why you may want a second library, and against Shadow it is slightly reasonable, but not really.
Hmm.
Like it is possible, like cutting a spell pierce or a force for library is correct, but I the thing is we've already made our deck more clunky by cutting exactly 1 3-drop and bringing in 2 3-drops, and we've cut a lot of forces, so our deck is more clunky, which is okay. But bringing in the second library also makes our deck more clunky, especially since we're going to be cutting a free spell or 1-drop for it, and you do want to maintain certain efficiencies in Delver, and the deck's already quite clunky as it is. So yeah, that's why I wouldn't bring in the second library.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this 60 looks fine, so
Yeah.
we will see how it goes.
Like, yeah, library is fine in the matchup, and especially since it sounds fine, keep it.
Yeah,
Especially
nice.
since like the reason why Delver is a better tempo deck than Shadow is that Shadow really struggles playing early threats, and because it struggles playing early threats, it plays a worse tempo game. And you notice that like in decks like Doomsday, where you would assume the deck playing Thoughtseize and all this more permission and disruption would be more annoying for your deck. But it really isn't, because they don't play a threat as early and they don't tempo you as early, and that's something you notice really quickly. And you realize like, oh, Shadow isn't as scary as it seems. It's slightly more scary in this matchup because Rug specifically doesn't have a way to kill the shadows anymore. Thank you, Oko Ban. Before you just play your Oko, you just point to the shadow and say, "This is, this is fine. I'll resolve. This is fine."
You sure? Okay. Yeah.
We're just going to wasteland them. Decide if we want to invest mana into the Hex Drinker, and yeah, then assert from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So wasteland them. Put mana into the Hex Drinker. Pass the turn.
This is really nice, especially if they wanted to cast like a Ponder next turn, then we can just tick this up. The only card we have to think about is probably Snuff Out.
Did you not attack, Google?
I did not. Apologies. Yeah, sorry, Jack. I was talking to you.
So it's actually defensible not to attack to stop them playing Shadow, because the Shadow is now boltable if they were to play it. So it is actually reasonable not to attack. By the way,
Jack, you read my mind. That's what I was thinking of. Oof. Dismember? Wow.
but I'm always an aggressive player who just likes attacking.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, we're just gonna wasteland and Ponder.
Ooh, Delver's nice.
Wasteland. I misspoke. We're gonna wasteland and Delver.
Okay. I do know some Maverick players definitely like building up a board and then attacking for like lethal in 2 turns rather than just clocking them every little bit.
That's fine, but we're a lightning bolt deck. We just don't mind putting them to like 3 to 6 life and just throwing bolts at them for a few turns because they are slow at deploying threats. Oh, this is beautiful.
I did not expect this play from my opponent. Our opponent.
This is the I have no lands in hand. Please don't have more lands to play. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, just play the Vulcan Ponder.
Yeah. Another Daze would be quite nice, yeah. Daze in a second threat? Ooh. That's...
Okay, so draw the true name, put the land on the bottom, and keep Ponder on top. So, land bottom, Ponder true name. And this just guarantees our double flipping.
Eight to 5 to 3 to 2.
Just pass opponent. Oh fuck! They drew the land. That's.
Oh. Ken Dog, not a fan of true name in the current meta.
I agree. So true name's a sideboard card in this deck. It's only there for the Skyclave decks. So the deck's not really playing Plague Engineer in the first place, if that makes sense. The reason I wanted a true name is that we kind of had 2 free sideboard slots, and because I think Clothis is the better 3-drop in general, but because Clothis is just absolutely murdered by Skyclave, and all your deck is just absolutely murdered by Skyclave, you just wanted something that wasn't murdered by Skyclave.
So I assume our next turn is going to be True Name. Is there any point to
Oh no,
ponder
you're just
here?
brainstorming here. You're just brainstorming here.
Okay.
So just sort through the brainstorm now.
What are you looking to find? Can Magic?
Dazes, bolts. Bolt basically stops them fetching.
Yeah.
Put back the True Name. Put back the fetch land. Fetch, play a Delver.
Yeah, that's going to concede to that. Nice.
Send it back.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, especially on the draw. I wouldn't think of any main changes. Do you think they're on Stifle?
I don't care. I'm not playing around Stifle. They Stifle me, good for them. I don't want to let the Shadow player play a Shadow. I just want to kill them.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's very true.
Like this matchup, Delver just wants speed. Like, this sounds awkward, Snapkey, but
yeah, I think a brainstorm off the top would be.
yeah,
nice.
This needs a brainstorm. I just can't. Like, if their Thoughtseize us here, holy fuck, is this a? This is maybe a. Yeah, maybe.
Nice.
Okay, this is fine. Just play the Volt, play the Delver.
Jack, you say brainstorm, and we draw. Brainstorm.
I really draw more land.
Another threat's not the worst. Just
Alistair. So the thing is, you know me. I play cards I hate. Yeah, play the Volk. We're playing around Stifle here.
Okay.
Yeah, I play cards I hate because I believe in testing all cards, and I believe this is the type of list you would play Forager in. So yeah, I think the card has a lot of flaws, and I'm interested in how it's going. And there's a reason why this deck's 1-2. This deck has been losing, I will point out. And
to be fair, Uru's been a big part of those losses.
Sure, it has been. But the whole point is, did they wasteland us? Oh, they did. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Just play a fetch land, fetch straight away for a drop and pass the turn.
Cool. Ooh.
Yeah, still pass the turn. Don't play the ponder.
Okay.
We're holding up days, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool.
So we're playing around days. We're holding up force and days. Force any shadow. Force that. Force pitch ponder. It's possible you're supposed to pitch the days here, but we're still in an early game, kinda. And I believe opponent has Stifle, and I want to slam this Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's nice to have both Can Magic and a threat.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd play the fetch. They're going to Stifle us. Oh, they're not. Just slam the Tarmogoyf then.
Goyf currently a 3/4.
It doesn't super matter. Like, we don't really want them having another Shadow here. Another Shadow here is very bad. This is fine. This is just, it looks like they're just casting a 3-drop and we're going to daze it. Yeah, this is just like the Plague Engineer. So we're going to daze it. If they counter back, we're just going to bolt it and attack them.
Go Mag.
This is fine. Why? Oh no, they're all fetching to fuel the Go Mag. That makes sense. Cool, that's fine. How big's Tarmogoyf now?
3/4 still.
Cool.
So the chain would make it a 4/5.
I'm not interested in chaining yet.
No.
They have a fatal push here. They're fatal pushing on Tarmogoyf now upkeep. Oh, they're not. Oh, that's a beautiful draw.
Yeah.
Just play the fetch land and pass. So this game was pretty 50-50 at the moment. The next person who draws a threat basically wins. Which looks like it to be them.
Is this him to Turak?
This is a him? This is a him?
Oh no. Hang life.
This is a dismember. Oh, veil that.
Yeah, very good. Veil this. A new card as well is really nice.
Look,
I'm gonna force that.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You can't do much about it. This is actually quite good for us because it means if we find any other bolt, they just die.
Yeah, which is really nice. They have one card left.
Yeah. That's why I like keeping all the bolts in, because you get in situations like this very easily.
Do you like just chaining here?
I would just throw the bolt at them right now.
Yeah.
They can't counter it.
Yeah.
And I would fetch to threaten another bolt.
You fetch now?
Yes, just fetch.
Okay.
The reason that is so I'm trying to look at what the last card is. It's not a Stifle. I believe the last card in hand is either a land or a wasteland. And we're just playing the game of whoever top decks better wins.
Hey Gio, thanks for the follow. If you're looking for the deck list, you can find it on the screen as well.
I will daze this. Yeah, just please. Yeah. No, don't no.
How come?
Never hardcast days on the Double Mirror. We haven't checked them for days yet, right? We have not checked them for days. They could have days in hand.
Okay.
And because you have 3 lands in hand, it's free just to bounce a land. So just bounce the final drop. Yeah.
I guess because we had the second, I was a little bit more open to it, but it definitely makes sense. If I can play around
it also makes our brainstorm. Well, by bouncing lands, it makes your brainstorms better.
Yeah, that's nice as well. Spell PS.
That's fine. I just play your land and pass. Like it no longer matters. Like we're kind of in a situation where we need to
draw something.
Cantrip. We need to bolt them up. Yeah, this is fine. Like, sure, yeah. Yeah.
Jack, these are the moments we live for.
It is. We just draw the lightning bolt here and just kill them. No matter what you draw, just float red. Please, just draw a card and float red.
It still gives us time. We can spell Pierce and Daze a Fatal Push as well, which is nice. I guess they can't snuff out, which is good. I think it's like even Plague Engine they can't beat. Yeah, it's a Time Walk. A 1 mana Time Walk, Jack.
1 mana Time Walk. Well, at least they can't force our... But they can force a bolt, actually. Never mind, they're on 1.
I guess Wasteland's also a live draw for them. That's pretty good.
It's fine. Like, we're pretty dirty, right?
No, Jack. Heart of the cards. Heart of the cards, Jack. Here we go.
Oh!
Ah! Surely. Oh!
Hang on. So, stop. So, hang on. Okay. Put back the fetch land and put back the spell pierce.
Interesting.
You can't fetch. You can't fetch.
Yep, but...
You can't cast the spell pierce.
But I can cast the Daze. Yeah, okay, that's true.
Okay. Play the Wasteland.
Yep.
Bolt them.
Haha. Please, opponent. They have 1 card left.
They can't have anything. There's no card here that beats you. I can guarantee you there's no card here that beats you.
Stubborn Denial.
But don't play that.
Okay.
And the only thing that beats you is a 2 mana counterspell, which you Daze. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what you call luck sacking for a win.
Nice. There we go, Jack. Heart of the cards.
And also, that's why I keep all bolts in against Shadow. Once again, you just want that situation to happen, because that situation comes up a lot.
Yeah. Nice. That was a sweet game. Yeah, Shadow seems like a pretty interesting matchup. A lot of back and forth, which is nice.
It used to be so much easier when you could double to triple bolt their things and OHKO all their shit. But sadly they banned those cards and you have to actually think about the matchup now. I think it's slightly Shadow favored. Shadow players would argue it was slightly Shadow favored before, but I just found OHKO and Dread Darkness just slaughtered their deck. Sure, they're really, really aggressive. Shadow draws beat you, but sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, like I would agree with them that their deck does have more high rolling potential than Delver, because they can just turn 1 a Shadow, and turn 1ing a Shadow is very hard to beat.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you have you played Death Shadow and Paper?
No, but I've crushed multiple people playing Death Shadow and Paper by attacking them with 4 Dread Darkness. It's great when you just attack all your Dread Darkness. You're like trigger. and then you just pick up your deck and you just throw your deck at your opponent. Quite literally, because that's what Dreadful Alchemist did. You basically just cast your entire deck.
All right, what is your call for the last match? What deck do you reckon we'll play against?
I want to play against a fair deck that's not playing Uro.
Okay.
I would like to test against Death and Taxes or Maverick. And honestly, if we're playing against Maverick, Douglas can just show us how to play against Maverick.
Yeah, it will be really interesting playing from the Delver side. Yihei saying it's going to be blue-red Delver.
I love that matchup. Tamagotchi is so good against blue-red Delver.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially once it's off the stack, I assume like a Brazen Burrow or a Bounce is kind of its only real out.
They can kind of fly over you, but basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's very true as well. All right, we've got lands and black-green depths as well as contenders. Up against Bok Manus. I think some of our draws have been pretty good as well. At least the opening hands, we've kept a lot of our sevens.
Yeah, like a lot of the opening hands have been reasonably good. I think some of our mid-game draws have been passive in some matchups, but that's just like we haven't been drawing a lot of cantrips off the top, is what I've noticed this league, which is possible in a 9-land. So I have a golden rule of never mulling double wasteland hands.
Okay.
Which changed in the Astrolabe meta, but we're not in the Astrolabe meta anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to keep the sound of double wasteland.
Jack, I'm with you. I hope it's just dual pass. Or actually, I hope it's tap land pass. I guess I don't hope it's tap land pass.
So the sound is
awkward
awkward because it does require us to draw cantrips at some point, but we have turns to draw cantrips, and this is slightly a loose keep, I do admit, but who doesn't like wastelanding opponents?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also having force up is nice. It looks like we're experiencing some a little bit of
cantrips and a threat, which is like the no-no rule of Delver, but I like wasteland. You just wasteland people and they cry and it's fun. And this is a wasteland stream. Like, this is basically the wasteland stream of Australia, so you have to give our wastelands.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I've been getting this a lot, which I assume is the lag issue that people talk about.
It's fine. If this doesn't work, just reset the thing in 2 minutes. Well, my motor just disconnected.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
What if they're doing an update? Oh, definitely feels like. Oh, interesting. Technical difficulties. Yeah, Bryce, that's correct. Updates are usually on Wednesdays. So thankfully it looks like it was just a bit of lag on our end, which, I mean, do you have NBN, Jack?
No. What's
Okay.
NBN? Is that the internet that was supposed to give us 6 years ago that never did?
Yeah. Take that, government.
I heard they spent like $13 billion on that. I'd like to see it one day though.
I would love to see it. I get pretty jealous of Americans who send through their speeds, or even Europeans.
I think not going fiber. Like, the problem is that you need to future-proof your design plans and not build. Like, I understand it was possibly more expensive. I'm not even sure it was. It was possibly more expensive to go fiber optics, but going fiber optics was future-proofing the technology. It would have had a shelf life of like 10 to 20 years. Yeah, that's annoying. We fetch Vulcan bolt that. So I believe this is Maverick.
I think it is as well.
So I was the right person. Eat that, chat. And yeah, I just hope so speaking of wastelands, let's hope opponent doesn't have a wasteland. How does that sound? It could be, in fact. I would really like it to be, in fact. In fact, it's a much better matchup than Maverick is.
Yeah, Infect would be nice. Yeah, I didn't want to bolt my own hierarch, but it's a tough time. It's a tough time. Interesting, yeah. MTGO must have had a big crash. I wonder if they go for planes here.
Oh, please just go so that. Oh, this is planes.
Ooh,
this is fine. We're going to bolt that as well.
Yeah.
Or actually, do we want to No, we
bounce it.
don't. Um,
I guess we.
I kind of want to. I don't want. Okay, I kind of just want to go Wasteland Pass.
Okay, and hold up. I guess Spell Pierce or Brazen Borrow Bounce.
We can hold up all our mana. I don't particularly care if they gain one life and they
Hmm.
want to use more mana. Like I don't particularly care if they want to use the early mana to gain the life. I would rather them have less resources for that ooze later anyway. So I'm just gonna go Wasteland Pass and we get to hold up Ponder. No, sorry, not Ponder. We get to hold up, the four spells on the left hand side.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I feel like if they did have Wasteland, they probably would have just gone after our Volk last turn. So it's really a case of do they draw Wasteland this turn?
Well, I've got a feeling they're just gonna jam a Knight of the Reliquary, as all Maverick players do. They just love just jamming the turn 3 Knight. And I'm kind of interested in bouncing the Knight or forcing the Knight or just
Oh, they had the Wasteland.
that's fine. We're going to bolt the thing now. Just gain life, opponent. Just gain life. You know you want the life. You know you want the life. The one life is relevant. We're going to bolt you out of this game. Gain the life, opponent. Don't cast your spells. Damn.
Interesting. What are they
So
doing
yeah,
now?
they're laying this wasteland
There we
resolving
go.
and casting the Thalia, and we're snap forcing the Thalia pitch spell pierce.
Yep. Script Ranger.
Oh, this is fine. This is fine. This card does nothing.
I guess it does mean the Wasteland is a little bit dead to like Savannah.
Dude was like, this card does everything. Why aren't we forcing it? It's like, sure, that's a 1/1. Like, it does nothing unless they play a knight. We can just force a knight. You can't praise and borrow a Script Ranger, though. That's the one thing you can't do to it.
Unfortunately, it does mean they can play off their basics pretty well.
It does, but I would much rather force the Knight of the Reliquary they're going to try and cast this turn than I would a Scrib. Like, Knight will take over this game very quickly. The Scrib Ranger won't. And
Yeah,
they 100% have a Knight. Oh,
that's very true.
yeah, cool, force it. Pitch the Spell Pierce. How does it feel forcing a Knight of the Reliquary?
Sorry, one sec. All right, blue source, and we're back in. So close.
Well, that's like the single worst draw in our deck. Even a Force of Negation would have been better there. Wow. It's like Spell Pierce sucks versus deck, and that's like the first card for cutting in the 2 Force Negations and 2 Spell Pierce. So at this point, we're trying to get information out of our opponent if they're on green white or if they're on Abzan, because that changes a lot of things. So hopefully, opponent wants to reveal information. Dougal, what do you think they're on given the creature base so far?
I think they're on green white.
I would agree with that assessment.
I'm going to assume if they're playing Scrib, they're probably playing Mother of Runes as well.
Yeah. Another assessment why I think is that the opponent's been very happy to fetch basics, while an Abzan gamer would have been more greedy, I find, especially on the play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure an Abzan player would have gone fetch Bayou, cast Noble High Rock.
Yeah, Serpent, that's a good point. Collector Oof could mean that they are on a different version without Stoneforge, but a lot of variants right now are playing both. A little bit like playing Teeg with Green Sun Zenith.
Like, I'm okay with the Nombo purely because in the matchups where Oof matters, Stoneforge Mystic doesn't really, and the matchups where Stoneforge Oof doesn't really matter, and it sucks to draw it, but it's at least a 2/2 bear. They can, yeah, cool. So we can't wasteland the Dryad over here because of this stupid interaction, which I'm sure Dougal has been wastelanding the situation many times.
Surely they get a basic. I guess they could get a Savannah because they have the Scrib, but I assume our opponent will not show another color here.
So if they cast a knight here, we're dead. We're super dead. Can you ask opponent if he's on green, white, or Abzan, dude?
I won't. I like keeping it.
You see,
It for
whenever
now.
I kill someone with turn 1 Doomsday, I just ask them, can you please tell me what you're on? I would like to sideboard up. I haven't had one person tell me what they're on yet, though.
Would you board in any way different if you saw black?
Yeah, I would think about the Veil Summers for one.
Yep. Mainly for Abrupt Decay?
And so the issue of why Mother of Runes matters is that I want to determine if the Blazing Volleys are good. Blazing Volley can be medium to good versus Maverick. If they're on these Mother of Runes, the Thalias, they've already shown a Scrib Ranger, so I'm already getting more and more interested with the Blazing Volleys. If they're on Abzan, they're probably not playing Skyclaves, or they're not playing like 3 to 4 Skyclaves. I think Abzan can only play 1 to 2 Skyclaves, which makes the Clothis much better. As without the Skyclaves, Clothis just shits on Maverick because you just play it and they just can't kill it. And you just race them. But the lists that have access to Skyclave, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's very true. I think there's not too many Abzan lists running around with both like Abrupt Decay, Plague Engineer, and Skyclave. So
yeah, and that's why the difference between green, white, and Abzan really matters. Is that like against the Abzan deck, you really just want the true names and just force the Plague Engineers. But against like the green, white, so against the against the like Abzan, you just want the true names and just force the Plague Engineers. And you also want the Clothis though, so it's interesting. But yeah.
Oh, there it is. There's the Bayou.
Oh, cool. Opponent gave us information for no reason. Thank you, opponent.
I wonder if they actually want to cast like a Plague Engineer.
Give us more information, opponent.
Yeah.
So this is a very fitting way to end the stream, I think. Dougal playing the deck Dougal. Oh, thank you, opponent.
Interesting.
Thank you, opponent.
I guess it does. It turns the clock into a 2-tone clock.
Cool. I'm happy to concede here. We have the information.
Yep.
Like I just wanted this information. They gave it to us. I understand, like from the opponent's perspective, playing the additional clock was probably correct, but sometimes the information game's important. It can be hard to determine that, but sometimes, yeah. Like I just would have hidden the information here. I mean, what is Plague Engineer on?
Human, so it stops the Delver.
Yeah.
Jack, I think we just got back into this game.
No, they just attack the lethal. I mean, that's
7.
actually a misplay. They just attack the lethal. Like, they have 4 damage in play. We can't win.
We can wasteland the Dried Upper.
Oh, I guess, but like...
Very loose.
Yeah.
So I would assume.
Okay, I'll actually let you sideboard for this.
Okay. I like the volleys, the clots. Seeing the black, I'm not going to assume they have any sort of equipment in the deck. I don't mind the true names as like a maybe pile, and maybe even the second library. They do have decay. This is probably a bit of a maybe.
So I'm interested in 1 veil, not interested in 2 veils.
Okay.
I'm also potentially not interested in 2 blazing volleys. I can understand why. I think because you're playing a blue deck, you can just find these cards though.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I am semi-interested in the true names. The problem is I don't really want to get that clunky. So I would put the true names in the sideboard right away, right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll bring in these 4 cards. And how would you cut?
I would cut forces. I'll definitely cut the force negations. I'll probably keep 2.
I always keep 4 Force of Wills in. I think Force of Will can destroy Maverick if you're good at forcing the correct card. And neither the Reliquary Resolving is... Like, there is no Submergers in my sideboard.
Yep.
Neither the Reliquary Resolving is a huge beating.
Yeah.
And we have Spell Pierce's main deck, and Spell Pierce is garbage.
Yep. Nice. Okay.
So if you were bringing the true names, I also would still keep the 4 forces in. The cards I would cut is an Ethereal Forger and a Preordain.
Okay,
If
for
that
the
makes
two true
sense.
names.
Yes, but I don't want to be that clunky. I'm saying I would do that, but I don't want to be that clunky. It is an option. I just
Okay.
think this is too clunky. I think this is the maximum clunkiness we can play.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I like having the volley, which is really nice. All right.
Sense is snap keep.
Yeah. Tillman Hexdrinker turn 2 library is really
Yeah.
nice. And then if we need to, we have the force.
Actually, so how often do you like forcing the turn 1 mana dork? I want your opinion on this.
I think if I had a wasteland hand and they went for a jewel, I'd be more inclined for it. But
Yeah.
I would hate for them to go like land knight and then play it in a way that you can't bolt it and then no you can't
Yeah.
hit it.
That's my concern is I do like this is also like a very mid-range deck, and I think it depends on what type of Delver deck you're playing. In a mid-range Delver deck, I don't particularly care about the mana dork, but if I was playing Stifles and much more aggressive, I would be more inclined into forcing the mana dork. The only mana dork I would think about forcing if this is a Birds of Paradise, purely okay, this is fine. Actually, how much do you like Mob Runes?
This is an interesting one because I guess by the time we find something with Sylvan Library, this would be online.
I think we force it because we're not off that. I think we've pitched the whale.
Yeah.
I think we're not really on threat of a powerful card dropping down next turn. The most powerful play I think they can do is abrupt decay the library, and if they play any 2-drop it now, it just gets dazed.
Yep, exactly. This is library's really nice. Library's like one of my favorite all-time green cards, especially in Legacy. A lot of the matches that I've been playing since the Oko Dreadhorde ban have been based around library.
The card is obnoxiously powerful. It's a 2-mana draw for. It's just a 2-mana draw for. Oh yeah, like I expect a library just to be decayed here, which I'm okay with.
Or their own
They're not.
library, which I would love to daze.
Oh, just
Thalia.
daze this Thalia.
Yeah.
Hey Thalia, bye Thalia. You're just not paying 8 here.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it has to be a really bad library for us not to just pay 8 here.
With the brainstorm makes it a bit better as well.
Put back 1 land, pay 4. Play the fetch land.
Do you want to tick up or not?
No, just attack for 2 here. We want the two things here. Next turn we're probably just gonna pay 8 and brainstorm though. So actually, no, just put 1 mana. Put 1 mana into it. I'm okay with putting 1 mana into it.
It's actually a blue card.
He's got a good point there. How many lands do they have in the bin?
They currently have 2. Plague is fine. Plague.
No, fetch brainstorm. Fetch brainstorm.
Okay.
You want a daze? They're gonna name Snake.
Probably gonna go for another Volkia.
Get a tropical. Green sources are much more important in mid-range matchup.
Okay.
Just
That's pretty nice.
sure. Just put back 2 lands. Sure, they're naming Snake, which is awkward because we're going to lose a Hex Drinker.
Yeah.
But we're going to play a Clothis and hope the Clothis carries us. So Clothis exiling lands basically stops the knight doing shit. And we're paying 4 here, so put back the tropical.
Yep, nice. Let me get the shuffle off the Misty.
Yeah. Slightly aggressive, but the Clothis is going to gain us life.
Yeah, Colossus is going to be huge.
Yeah. And yeah, like the best case scenario for opponent to have is fetch land knight, because that's really bad for us. But as long as they don't have fetch land knight, in fact, hope they just have no lands and just have to play a knight here. Not drawing the days last turn was painful though. If we had the days, we just won.
Yeah, unlike unlike D&T that has like Flicker Wisp or Skyclave, the 4/4 Hex is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
It can usually be a massive mirror breaker in Maverick, especially for the decks that run Guy's Cradle. It can really get out of hand pretty quick.
This is fine. This is absolutely fine. Just wasteland our red source opponent.
I wonder if they're thinking about like Green Suns. I would love to see Green Suns for 4 or for 3.
So how does it feel playing from the Delver side?
the one word that comes to mind is fragile. I feel like you have to tread lightly and make sure that everything you're doing is
Powerful,
correct,
yeah.
and you aren't sort of putting yourself in a position where you can get, taken off red, or that's a pretty.
Oh, that's fine. That is actually fine. That is fine. That is
Do you want to
actually
daze it
fine.
to return a land or not?
No. I'd rather just win this Clothis now. The issue is that like we have no need to return the land, and we get to get more information off this library of which land we want to return. Okay, put back Blazing Volley and the Ponder. Fetch Volk. Bolt. Do we have to bolt that actually? Eat. Okay, how does Clothis work? And it's a land for mana and a spell for just eat a spell.
Yeah, I guess we just take out the mum.
Yeah. Play a volcanic and play the
Scalding
Time
Pass. Yeah.
The opponent will probably wasteland. I don't care. They wasteland it.
I mean, there is a world where Bolt of Face just gets there with Clots.
Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Is that like this is why Clothis is very powerful. It's very hard to efficiently race the Clothis.
It's kind of a nice feeling.
So we don't particularly want the cards on top, but we also don't want to really expose the red source.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the opponent just casts something we can daze the other red source.
Yeah.
Just green sun for 4 here, opponent. Don't think about it.
It's good to see choke back. As much as what are they doing? Despise playing against it. It's a great card to get down.
That's a literal worst case scenario. This is fine. Bounce your Volk though. Bounce your Volk.
Yeah, I don't mind dazing it. Just even tap the wasteland.
Yeah.
Because what we can do here is Clots out.
No. You are fetching. You are fetching for red souls. You want to shuffle your deck.
Yeah. But now we get to, because the wasteland's tapped, we get to untap, Clots, take out a land, make it a 3/3, then bolt it. Because otherwise they could wasteland themselves to keep it alive, or wasteland us. So.
Yeah. Look, I agree with the days, but we are fetching before we draw. Okay, you have upkeep stops, thank God. I only put my upkeep stops when I need them. Cool. So we're going to put the Flooded Strand on top and the Tarmogoyf on top.
Okay.
We're going to... Actually, we could have cast a I forgot Clothis makes mana by doing this. Cool, make red mana. It's fine. Make red mana. And bolt the Knight. Now, play the Wasteland and waste on the Dryad Owl. The reason is we want to fetch next turn. And we want to keep damage parity with this Clothis.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I kind of forgot Clothis could make green mana class a time ago, so that was an actual misplay, I do admit, but I never make mana with Clothis, I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, Tight Hand, thanks for the stay hydrated.
So they're going to bolt our red, they're going to wasteland our red source, and this is fine. Hang on, what does Clothis actually read? Could you read Clothis' ability to me?
Yeah, okay. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a land card, add red or green. Otherwise, you gain 2 life and Clots deals 2 damage.
I was wondering if it was a land card, make mana, and if it was a non-land card, or like a spell or a creature card, gain life. Because I was wondering how it worked with Dryad Arbor. Just as fine, let it happen. This is fine. Don't float mana.
How does it? Otherwise,
no,
if it was a land,
it just adds mana. Don't float mana off this. You're just giving opponent information.
I was going to take out the Plague Engineer. No,
it's fine. It's the Plague Engineer can't raise the Clothis.
Okay. And I guess is Blazing Volley on top? No, it's Goyf and Flooded Strand.
No. So the only real issue we get punished here is they have a Thalia, but we kind of just hope they have nothing. We can't really hope that they get punished for exactly Thalia, and it can happen, but we can't just hope they have nothing. Okay, they had something.
Knight.
Okay, sure. This is a fitting way to lose this game. His opponent have 2 natural knights to kill us. Okay, stop. Okay, put the library and put the fetch land on top. Okay, not killing that thing actually lost us the game, but 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 sure, okay, sure. So the win condition here was to bolt the plague engineer. It was then to cast the Tarmogoyf and buy turns.
Hmm.
But how big's the knight?
5/5.
How big's the Tarmogoyf?
3/4.
Yeah, like we weren't winning anyway. The knight just attacks, the Tarmogoyf blocks anyway, in a losing situation.
I have to say it's refreshing to see how good Knight is against Rug finally.
No, give me my Oko back. Let me elk this. Let me elk this. Let me have a powerful fair strategy, just elking 3 drops. My 3 drop beats your 3 drop. That's fair magic. Sure, Dreadhorde Arcanist was oppressive. I accept Dreadhorde Arcanist was oppressive. Ban Dreadhorde. I'm not asking for Dreadhorde, but let me elk things.
I feel like this is a Green Suns for questing beast.
Look,
Nice. Yes, opponent. Yes.
Diggle, you understand you're losing.
So good. It's Maverick. You gotta be happy.
So the stream was sponsored by Dougal trying to prove Maverick is actually just the best. No, you bolt yourself. No, don't.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, but yeah, like so
Where's the collection?
I so I think the deck is okay placed against Maverick. The opponent just ripped 2 knights off the top, or they just naturally drew the knights, which naturally drawing your knights versus Delver is very good. And truth be told, opponent had a lot of good answers at a lot of good times. Maverick is packed full of cards like that, though, so it can be hard to evaluate if that was just a high variance draw or if the deck needs tuning. Game 1 was just we lost to our mana base, which is sometimes happens with Delver. What do you think of the matchup? Did you like? Obviously, that wasn't a great showing of the mid-range capabilities of Delver. And which cards were you impressed with?
What was I impressed with? I didn't see Klotz as much as I thought I would, but when I did, I really liked it.
I mean, we played a lot of Euro decks, and in the Euro decks, we just really want the Clothis. So that's why I like having a second Clothis in the sideboard. I think Hexdrinker didn't do exactly amazing this league, but that's fine. Like, the reason, like, Hexdrinker just got answered a lot, and like that's the thing. Like, it's a one job. It's okay if it gets like, unlike a Fail Forger, which is a double threat, the Hexdrinker eating removal is fine. It's a one drop. One drops are always okay to eat removal. The whale didn't impress me, as I didn't think it would.
Yeah, the Forager. Did we get to attack with it?
No.
No, it got hit a lot. Which
that's the thing about Foragers. I think it's too passive and too slow. And whilst I like the concept of a mid-range Delver deck, as you saw, like Delver's ability to play fair magic right now is heavily diminished by the recent bannings. And it's kind of forced Delver into this position where it's playing this hyper-aggressive, just beat-down bolt strategy, which I guess is a winning strategy, but just playing like Swift Spears, Delvers, and Bolts isn't particularly fun magic for either sides, I think. Just personally. Like, I understand it's technically a tempo deck, but I would rather be playing a tempo deck like with Tarmogoyfs and Hexdrinkers than I would just I won the dice roll, I win this match. I lost the dice roll. I guess my aggro strategy isn't as good.
Yeah, I get that. I do love the thought of this deck. And I think if I did play Delver and Paper, I would still play this. Because it does seem that if it comes together, it does have a lot of answers for everything, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so the cards I would change is I definitely don't like the whales. Not So let's get the threats in one pile. I didn't hate the Brazen Borrowers. I think they're somewhat necessary evil.
Hmm.
It is possible the Brazen Borrowers should just be like cards like Clothis and True Name, though, so you have a more powerful curve. Um,
It's a tough one because I guess like Hooting Mandrills is another good delve card that just doesn't really do anything the turn it comes down either.
so I don't hate potentially making them cards like Spike Dragons and other aggressive 2 drops,
Yeah.
but yeah, look, so the issue about cards being pitchable to force makes them pyroblastable, and having pyroblastable threats is kind of bad because people overboard pyroblast in the mirror and doesn't like if you actually look at this deck, besides the whales, it doesn't really have any great targets. Like sure you can pyroblast Delver, cool. You can pyroblast a Brazen Borrower, cool. But really, like, what are you blasting? My cantrips? I side my forces out. Like, you can blast my shot. You can blast some of my fighters, sure. And that's so people who like just snap 3 and 3 pyroblast, I question like, but why? Like, I agree 1 to 2 pyroblast is good, and I'm not saying pyroblast is bad. I just think it's overboarded a lot. Like, especially rug decks, the cards that matter in the mirrors tend to be the Tarmogoyfs, the Hex Shrinkers. I don't like the Clothis in the mirror. I know Guldacott loves Clothis in the mirror, which it can be good, but the issue with Clothis is kind of how he lost to Maverick is that mid-range mirrors are about board presence and maintaining the board presence. While Oko is while Clothis is a good bleeding effect, if your opponent just starts playing into the board, you just lose. And like, if it was a true name, it was potentially better actually. But like, I like the ability to early tempo them and play the Clothis more than I like a true name, purely because of Plague Engineer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Is there a
So
reason
like,
why Rug's never gone towards like Young Pyromancer?
I thought about Young Pyromancer. It's a fine card. It's a perfectly fine card, and it's potentially what you can replace the whales with. I I don't. I have a pet hatred for the card. Is the only reason I don't play it. Like every time I play it, I'm like, fine. Like it's fine. Like I will probably end up moving forward to it at some point, but I'd rather honestly play a card like Sprite Dragon at the moment or something more fun.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I was trying to think of another creature that I've seen in Rug, but a lot of them are here, including True Name.
Yeah, like so I do think the Maverick matchup is somewhat closer than it looks. I think the Tamagotchi, the Hex Drink is even the Forages can be very powerful. Our deck just didn't really function in that match, and opponent's deck really functioned a lot. They just slammed Knights against us, and Knights. Well, I mean, Dougal's obsession with playing Knights is there for a reason, as you saw. It's not because he's just a crazy Knight of the Reliquary person. It's because Knight of the Reliquary is actually an annoyingly good card at times.
I do like this build. I think this is getting closer to where we want to get Jack.
Uh,
I replaced the whales with Knights. Yeah.
I was actually tempted to make a BANT Delver deck with Knight of the Reliquary. The only issue is that Knight of the Reliquary and the Turbo Xerox strategy doesn't particularly work well with because the Turbo Xerox strategy wants you to cut lands, but Knight wants all these utility lands to fetch with. So unfortunately, I couldn't really get a Knight of the Reliquary Delver deck working.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It would be pretty tough. I always found with Band it's hard to have a good mix of green creatures for green suns, but also a good mix of blue cards for force if you are going to play force in the 75.
For like a BANT Delver deck or like a
Yeah,
BANT Maverick deck.
probably like a Band. I guess you'd play Stoneblade, but I'm not sure.
So if I was playing BANT Maverick, I would play 80 cards, and I would just make the forces work. If I was playing
Okay,
80 cards,
you'd play
I would
Yorion.
play. So yeah, I'd play Yorion.
Yeah.
I would play 4 Brainstorm, 2 Ponder.
Okay.
I would play 4 Greens on Zenith. I would just play a lot of like just I would just fill my deck with good blue cards.
Okay.
Like yeah, like I would like the problem with exactly Force and Urion is that Force and Green Sun is that you need like 20 or 30 like Green Sun hits for your Green Suns to be good.
Hmm.
But the thing is, you don't actually need to draw them, you just need them in your deck. So if you play 80 cards, you get to fix all the problems of you can just play like 8 forces, this many blue cards, and you can draw those cards fine because you don't need to draw your green cards, you just need to draw your Green Sun Zeniths, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot. I guess the other card that I was thinking of was Terramander, which I know some people tried out. It's definitely fallen
Oh,
off the
that
radar.
card is just that card is just a trap. That card is a trap.
Okay.
Yeah, the card is just way too slow. I'd rather whale or delve threat than it. Like because it's so slow. Like I would honestly rather nimble mongoose with that. And speaking of which, I did win a
Mm.
tournament recently with nimble mongoose. You just stifle everyone's lands and force the mana dogs. And that deck I would force mana dogs because I had stifles.
Okay. What would you take out to make room for stifles?
So okay, you have to rebuild the entire deck. When you're playing Stifles, you can't play this grid. This deck taps out a lot, as you notice, and you can't really play Stifle. You have to like significantly change your deck building philosophy to fit Stifle in your deck. I was playing 8-1 drop. I was playing 8-1 drops with the Stifle deck, and I was playing a much cleaner list. So like, I understand people love to put Stifle in their Uro decks, which is cute. It's also clunky though, and I have tested Uro Delvin. I actually had the most results of Uro Delvin than I have the other Delver variants, which tilts me because Uro Delver decks once again cannot beat Skyclave decks because you're like Uro, and they're like, I have Caracas and Skyclave. I give two shits about that. Wait, your deck's a mid-range pile that resolves around just spamming Uros? Cool, you can't beat me.
Yeah, I guess Uro would be another nice drop instead of the Forger, but it does open yourself up a lot more to Skyclave as well.
So I haven't like I do have an Uro list, and like the Uro list has been doing quite well. I'm sick of losing to Skyclave. Like you
Yep.
you get pet against that and that. You're like, I can't beat your deck. You have Krakus and Skyclave. Like, what can I do? Like, I have like 8 threats, 4 Delver, 4 Tarmogoyf, and 3 Uro. The Euros answer the Krakus, and then your 4 Plow, 4 Skyclave, Stoneforge Mystic deck just needs to deal with 8 threats exactly, and I'm never getting a single threat play.
Yeah.
And
No,
like
that's fair enough.
that's the issue is like because all these white decks are good again, you actually have to theorize how to beat Skyclave, and theorizing how to beat Skyclave is really hard. And honestly, I think Skyclave was a good enough answer for Oko anyway. Like I generally think that ever since Skyclave was printed, the ban argument for Oko really deteriorated because it really solved the white deck's issues with Oko. Like Green White Maverick was good again because it had a reasonable way to deal with Oko, and I get people didn't like Oko, but at the same time, power creep has happened in other decks. Like you noticed how we were basically just destroyed by like 29. We were basically destroyed by 2020 and 21 card. Like, what did we get crushed by? We got crushed by Plague Engineer. We got crushed by
None of the
Uros. Like all
Reliquary.
these other powerful new printings. Shut up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uro was
shut
a much bigger issue than I thought it was coming into this.
Yeah, like that's why I liked hitting. That's why I liked leaving Oko and just hitting the Uro and Dread of Darkness is because it really hit the engines of both the decks. Like Uro was the key card in the control deck, and Dread of Darkness was the key card in the um Delver deck. And whilst Wasteland is an okay strategy for dealing with Uro, and last week especially, like they were playing all garbage mana bases, so it was very easy to waste on them off Uros. But as the mana base gets better and better, you get to see Uro decks becoming stronger and stronger, and like Uro is just very oppressive for like a tempo deck.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I definitely feel privileged to be a player who runs Swords to Plowshares and runs Caracas, that I don't tend to lose to it as much as I would otherwise. So it
So I
does.
think Swords is quite garbage versus Uro. Like you're giving them 9 life because you're giving them 6+3, and it's really hard for a deck that wants to be the aggressive deck in the matchup to really then clock them.
Yeah, I guess.
That's it. I think Crack is yeah. I think Crack is a great answer for Uro though. Like I think Crack like D&T's strategy against Snow decks was just to mill them at the end of the day because like you couldn't race the Euro, but you could Skyclave the Oko, and then you could just keep Caracasing the Euro, and they would keep drawing cards, and they would never put a win condition in place. They would just deck, and it was glorious.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I guess I always saw it as Caracas gains them 3 life and draws them a card, but if they're not drawing towards an actual threat that can win them the game,
Well,
then
the thing is, like, because the blue decks are so inbred to build, like, beat each other, Snoko was like, Delver can't beat Uro. Let's make our win condition just spam Uro, and the Snoko deck heavily relied on just spamming the Uro out. But because the Krakus invalidated the Uro, and if you drew your Skyclaves or ways to deal with the Yoko, because the Snoko deck heavily relied on just winning via the power of Uro, it was very hard for them to actually just kill the ENT. So you could just sit there like, okay, cool, you draw a card, gain 3 life, cool. Your deck's basically designed to be mono cantrips, mono removal, and Uro, because that just shits on Delver.
yeah, I mean, like that band tech we played against. If they don't have Uro, are they just trying to win with Snapcaster and Ice Fang?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely
So
You go.
So it is true that Oko was oppressing some decks like Chalice decks. I personally think that people like to blame Oko for the Chalice decks. I think Force Negation is actually much bigger than Oko for the Chalice decks. So it just means that you have so much free counter magic that you can often just counter the Chalice decks. I also think that by making Delver worse against fair decks, which you have by banning Oko, you've actually just made Chalice decks worse because, well, yes, it's true. Delver can't compete with fair decks as much, but fair decks often don't care about Chalice anyway. Like Death and Taxes and Maverick, they don't really care about Chalice. So
Yeah.
by weakening Delver's position against fair decks, I'm not saying Delver's unviable against fair decks. I just think that it does somewhat struggle against fair decks unless you go these super hyper aggressive aggro decks. And I do think the super hyper aggressive aggro decks are viable, and they're probably what I would be running with Delver. I just don't like that strategy, and I do admit, like turning Monastery Swift Spears, throwing bolts at my D&T opponent will probably beat them, and that's what I'm probably going to be playing is those types of decks. But I don't even play Wasteland anymore, which just doesn't feel like a Delver deck. It just feels like a burn deck.
Yeah, that's very true. Suspiria is a card that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, so the current like main double deck is like Aussie Mandris's Force Swift Spear, Force Right Dragon, 4 Delver, Mono Cantrips, Mono Bolts, 0 Wastelands, 16 lands, Clothis in the sideboard, Veils in the sideboard, and just basically blue red splash green.
Interesting. That sounds pretty cool.
So if you run into like a Swift Spear double decks and never playing Wasteland.
Okay.
Or the majority of them are not playing Wasteland, I should say. So I wouldn't play around Wasteland versus them because the majority of them just aren't playing Wasteland.
Hmm.
They're also not playing Price of Progress, which is interesting.
Yeah, okay. That's really
The
interesting.
problem is that Chalice decks heavily rely on the power of Chalice, and once you remove that power of Chalice, they're just not a powerful deck.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see it back because I'm a pretty big fan of Loam, which is in a weird position, but it of course is a Chalice deck that
Yeah.
yeah, it does
Like,
also kind of rely on slowing opponents down with Chalice at least.
my counter argument for all the people who says Oko was the impressive card for Chalice, why aren't we seeing Chalice decks?
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, I guess people are pretty used to it. I know John XJ Cloud's been on Mono Red Prison for a little while now.
Sure, he's also a very good legacy pilot though, so he could make anything work, and he's very good at different strategies. So he can probably make that deck work. So sure.
Yeah. Well, a huge thank you for coming on, Jack. This was
Yeah.
really cool. It was cool to play Delver, especially with you.
Yeah.
It hasn't been seen on the channel before, so that's
It's a channel first. Get
a
your
channel first.
get your I was here emotes that are coming tomorrow.
Yeah. Nice. That's very cool.
Hey Steve, bug. No, we're not getting you. Steve, get 100K channel points, and you can come in here and talk about how good bug is. How does that sound?
Steve did get a cup from me, which is really nice, and I actually believe I have one here, which is cool. But yeah, that's us. Jack, do you have anything you want to say? Anyone you want to reach out to? Say hello to?
Sure. Melbourne, I'm crushing you this weekend. Enjoy.
Nice. I like the confidence. Where's the actual tournament at?
Mesa Fitzroy. It's just a casual legacy tournament. I am playing Skyclave Apparitions. Stephen, enjoy everything being exiled.
Nice.
I'm playing D&T again this weekend.
Cool. Nice. You'll have to let me know how you go
Fuck.
because
Steve, no playing Doomsday. Doomsday's cheating. Doomsday's a bad deck. Don't listen to people who say Doomsday's a good deck.
yeah, Doomsday is a struggle for Maverick. I will give you that.
It's also a struggle for D&T. Like, I'm going to be searching everyone's exile zones to be working what the Doomsday piles are, which is going to be fun, because I'm just going to say, nah, you're dealing with me working out what the pile is. But yeah, like, I think you get a lot of equity from Doomsday by knowing what type of piles they will be making at a given time. Um, Steve is slightly right when he says that people don't recognize Doomsday piles quick enough. Um, there's a lot of give and tells of what's possible for the Doomsday player to kill you with when they Doomsday. But that's a quite convoluted story, so I won't go through that now.
No, all good. Yeah, a huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched. I'll be back on Friday morning with a donation list. Jund Nick Fit, which is pretty fun. I've done a league with it, which is on my YouTube channel, just to get some content. Duke's Day. But yeah, Jack, thank you once again.
That was a pleasure. I enjoyed making you play blue cards, as you should.
Yeah,
Join us. Join us. Join the blue side.
To be fair, I have played Mindbreak Trap before, so I'm halfway there.
That's not a blue card.
All right.
That's not a blue card.
Pretty close.
That's a green card.
That's a green card.
Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library, that's a blue card. If you like Sylvan Library, you would like Brainstorm.
Okay. That's fair. I'm going to send you guys over to Is That True Hero, who I believe is playing a BANT Tempo deck, which looks pretty sweet. So a huge thank you once again. We'll see you next time. Cheers.